Good afternoon, everybody. Hello and welcome to White House Field in Harwich, Massachusetts for today's game number 7 in the winner's bracket between the UMass Boston Beacons and the Ramapo Roadrunners. John Cabral alongside Sean Manfredo for this game. So UMass Boston more local to the field, but that's got nothing to do with anything. Once you get into tournament play, the home and away is determined by a number of different factors, and for this game it is Ramapo as the home team, so they are in the field first, and UMass Boston will get their first cracks at it. And Sean, it's been an interesting tournament to say the least so far, but we're right about where we thought we'd be. We expected these two teams to be in the winner's bracket. They are, and now the winner of this game gets that ticket into that all-important Game 11, that final game of the winner's bracket that usually determines the winner of something like this.
We're on to Game 7, John, on the total schedule here, with 4 games yesterday that had to be played elsewhere due to weather conditions. So the second game of the tournament that's actually here in Harwich, for those of us following along.
And our third game of the day here at White House, as we've gotten through a couple of early elimination games. These are two teams that were victorious a day ago, and that brings us to where we are here with Ramapo out there first. And quite an interesting story with Corey Heitler taking the mound for them today. Heitler has been excellent for them this season, actually threw the third no-hitter in program history for them back on April the 28th against a conference rival of theirs in Rutgers Newark. So they're looking for big things out of him today, but he'll have his work cut out with it for him with a lineup that you know very well.
That's right, John. For those of you who don't know, I coach in the same conference with UMass Boston. We've had the fortune of playing them 14 times over the last 3 years, so some of these names are pretty familiar to me. Hopefully I'll be able to bring some insight.
And Eddie Riley will be the leadoff hitter for UMass Boston. This will be a bit of an adventure in broadcasting here for these first couple of innings. The conditions we could probably say are atypical. It's probably the kindest way we could put that to get things going here this afternoon. But we're going to get you the game one way or the other. And right now we've got Heitler on the bump for the first inning, a right-hander. Ready, he deals. And that first pitch is in there for a called strike one. I think I might have to stand to see the strike zone
I'm trying
today.
to figure that out myself, John. Last year we had the higher chairs.
Nice high chair.
Now we're in the
helpful.
low chairs this year.
0-1, misses away.
A little bit of blue sky poking out down the left field line.
That'd be nice. Overcast day here at White House. The stadium lights are not on. Why would they be? It's only the national tournament. And the 1-1 pitch is down in the dirt for ball 2. Riley will be followed by Kyle Boudris and Dave Murphy, the top third of the Beacon order. After that, Chris Fowler, Ryan McCormick, Nick Herzog, Anthony Cesare, Sal Fruscino, and Charlie Hughey rounding out the starting 9 for the Beacons. Healthy cut at that one by Riley, but no contacts. Now 2 balls, 2 strikes. Beacons wearing their road blues today after a big win over Penn State Berks last night.
The Penn State Berks Nittany Lions eliminated this morning from competition, as we're now down to 6 teams that remain in the tournament. Suffolk and Penn State Berks both out of here.
Suffolk, a team that's a big disappointment in the tournament so far, made a pretty deep run last year in the regional, but they are already done here as we're just midway through day number 2. Healthy hack there by Riley, but no contact. He goes down swinging. First strikeout of the game for Heitler, and there's one down as Kyle Boudris steps to the plate.
A little different feel, John, for you and I this year being the first game that we've called, and that, of course, is thanks to UMass Boston setting this up, where last year we did every game of the tournament together, so we've had a chance to talk about the tournament as we went along.
Always a help when you can see the other things that are happening in the tournament. Helps when the tournament's all in one place as well. As the first pitch is in there on the inside corner for a called strike to Kyle Boudris, who's today's designated hitter. Give you that Roadrunner defense. Walsh at first base, Shannon at second, Unglob at shortstop, Sita at third base, Kuzmenko in left field, Mojiri in center, and Chemis in right field, Duffy behind the plate catching Heitler.
Some of the talk has been about a lot of the New England teams being sent out and a lot of other teams being brought in from outside of New England to the New England Regional, which was the case last year as well.
Misses away, and of course there's apparently no love lost between me and the Penn State Berks Nittany Lions. I didn't have anything against them per se, besides them getting put up against UMass Boston for a 3rd straight year, but I guess their players weren't taking a liking to me on the Twitters the other night.
That was interesting. I noticed that as well at JR Cabral on Twitter, that merely a pointing out that it was a long drive for a team from Pennsylvania to be unfortunately sent to New England.
Right.
A few players said that was going to motivate them.
And I ended up coming around and being very sympathetic with the Burks because, imagine having to sit around all day. They come all the way from Pennsylvania to stay in a hotel on Cape Cod. Then they send you to Boston to play the best team in the tournament. You're getting your tails kicked in around midnight. And then you have to come back down here to play a 9:30 elimination game with your season on the line the very next morning, and surprise, surprise, they're not here anymore.
And not only that, but you have to face one of the nation's top ERA pitchers in Bob Hamill of Western New England, who I believe took a no-hitter into the 6th in that game.
That's a guy they'd rather not throw in a game like that, but you just can't mess around when you get into that elimination scenario. And speaking of elimination, back-to-back Ks here by Heitler to start the first inning. So making a statement here against one of the more potent lineups in the tournament right away.
Absolutely, and as a, Ramapo plays in a very tough conference out in New Jersey with a lot of strong teams. TCNJ as well, who's in the regionals in a different bracket.
And you've gotten a taste of them down in Florida the last couple of years. Is that right?
Yeah, 3 out of the last 4 years we've played Ramapo on our southern trip, and they're always very tough.
First pitch misses inside to Dave Murphy, the starting second baseman for UMass Boston today.
Murphy missed most of last season with injury. Has come back to have a great year, especially with the power numbers.
1-0 hit the other way, taken foul, well foul, and out of play here at White House Field, which is home to the Cape Cod Baseball League's Harwich Mariners, as well as the Monomoy High School Sharks, more locally.
Beautiful field.
Some of the more modern Harwich Mariners that you'd know if you're a Major League Baseball fan would be Tim Lincecum, who won a couple World Series through a no-hitter for the San Francisco Giants. Also Adam Ottavino, who's pitching very well for the Colorado Rockies this year.
Also one of the few Cape Cod Baseball League teams with a tarp. I see it down the left field line.
1-2 pitch is hit straight back. In the good old days, they used to bring Mass Maritime's tarp down. I don't know if that's what happened here or if they've gotten one of their own these days. There's no logo on it or anything, so tough to say.
Long-time Mississippi State head coach Ron Polk told me that one of the benefits to the Cape League is no tarps, so you could get that occasional day off.
True. Didn't get one yesterday, though, so they ended up moving the tournament up. 2 of the games to UMass Boston, the other 2 to Clark University out in Worcester, Massachusetts. 1-2 pitch, check swing, foul off to the right side.
I'd be interested to know how they decided which teams went where. Obviously, it makes sense that UMass Boston went back to Boston, but
sure.
I found it interesting that Western New England went to Boston rather than to Clark, where that would have been obviously much closer to their fan base.
Could have gotten some fans, yes. Yeah. Chance to strike out the side here for Heitler in the top of the first. He tried to snap off a curveball, looked like there, but hung up high. So 2 balls, 2 strikes. If Murphy could reach, the Barnstable native and the Cape Codder Chris Fowler waiting on deck in the cleanup spot for UMass Boston. 2-2 pitch. Just missed the outside corner, and so the count runs full. Base is empty, so no need to worry about a base runner. Overcast, a little mist in the air, very common spring day on Cape Cod. Not much wind to speak of. The flag's all limp on the right field scoreboard as that one foul tipped, and we'll get at least one more pitch here to Murphy in the first.
Very different feel weather-wise than last year at this tournament, where the sun was shining and the temperatures were warm, but that is New England.
Indeed it is. Cape Cod in May in particular. Here's another payoff pitch, hit on the ground but wide of third base. A couple steps taken that way by Sita, but nothing to get. This is the third of 4 games on tap today. .3-2 again fouled away. So more questions than answers with a tournament like this, and unfortunately we can't answer most of the most frequently asked questions because we don't know them ourselves. However, what we can tell you is that there have been, will be, and will continue to be broadcasts of all UMass Boston games in this tournament, and the Beacons a favorite in this tournament. Hope to continue to play in the more important games as it goes along, as there's a check swing, no tag, and they will throw down, and the put out goes 2-3. So how about this first inning for Corey Heitler as he strikes out the side, all swinging in order in the very first inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Beacons, nothing across for them. At the end of a half inning of play, your score, Beacons nothing, Roadrunners coming to bat. You're watching the 2018 New England Regional here on beaconsathletics.com. John Cabral alongside Sean Manfredo here, and when you're trying to pull an upset against the #1 seed in the region, that's about as good a way to start as you can get.
Absolutely, and we knew from the scouting report that the pitcher was going to be very tough today for Ramapo. We talked about the no-hitter that he pitched earlier in the season. But you know, in a tournament like this, there could be no favorites. You know, we don't know where Ramapo, Oswego, the type of competition they play throughout their season. We obviously know that UMass Boston, playing in the toughest conference in New England, is tested, but we don't know a whole lot about some of these out-of-region teams that have been shipped in. So is there really a favorite? Maybe not. We'll find out.
So there you get a look at J.T. Morin, the redshirt sophomore out of Wilton, Connecticut, taking his warm-up toss. As you can see, his numbers excellent on the season, 6-1 with a 2.66 ERA, but most impressive here, Coach, opponents very, very poorly hitting against him at 137 on the season so far. So as a lefty, he's definitely kept opposing lineups stymied, and what's he going to have to do to keep these Roadrunners off the board?
Well, JT's very tough. We faced him at UMass Boston this year in a 2-1 game where he went into the 8th inning, pitched very well, throws strikes, mixes some velocity with good off-speed pitches, and I think that's probably going to be the key. Again, not knowing a whole heck of a lot about Ramapo, but knowing about JT. If he throws strikes and uses his weapons, he's going to be tough to hit today.
Starting lineup for the Roadrunners will be Austin Unglob at shortstop, Anthony Kuzmenko at left field. Joe Majiri will play center field and bat third. Batting cleanup at first base is Connor Walsh. Batting fifth at second base, Bobby Shannon. Batting sixth at third base is Vincenzo Sita. Batting seventh, the designated hitter Ryan McNaughton. Batting eighth and catching Liam Duffy. And batting ninth in right field, Matt Chemis. We told you Heitler was the starting pitcher for the Roadrunners, but he will not bat in their lineup as they go straight DH instead with McNaughton in that 7 slot. So bottom of the first, we get to see a ball hit in play, and we'll see what Austin Unglob can do about that as he stands in to lead things off for the Roadrunners. In the bottom of inning number 1 is, you know, in a double elimination tournament, so very important to stay in the winner's bracket as long as you possibly can. And it becomes so much more difficult if you lose this game than if you win this game, because if you lose, you get into that pattern of needing to win twice a day pretty much until the very, very end.
Very difficult to do, especially to come out of the loser's bracket where you have to win 4 or 5 games in a row to win a championship. Almost nearly impossible, especially when you get to that last day if you've got to beat another team twice that stayed undefeated. Very difficult, so paramount, as you said, to stay in the winner's bracket early.
Showing bunt on the first pitch, misses up high to Austin Unglob. It's something I learned from Ed Flaherty, the great coach up at Southern Maine many years ago, picked up his 1,000th win as a coach this year. He said, you know, if you're going to lose in the tournament, you might as well lose right away, your very first game. And the reason for that being is you can get your next games against some of the lesser competition while they're still there. You want to be responsible for throwing out some of those teams that don't really belong there. But now that you've already got 2 teams gone, if you go into the loser's bracket, you got a lot of trouble because that soft underbelly just isn't there anymore.
Right, and you're assuming that obviously the teams that are eliminated are the weaker teams, and there's no more opportunity to play those teams, clearly. So you get into these losers brackets games, and you could say the loser of this game, Ramapo or Boston, very difficult in an elimination game tomorrow.
And the sharp contrast is you win this game, you get into that third of 4 games scheduled to be here tomorrow. Whether it will be or not, who knows, between the weather and all the other things that we're up against. But that is the game that really typically determines who wins these tournaments, that final winner's bracket game where you get the 2-0 teams going head-to-head against one another in that 11th game, because if you win that, that puts you into the championship round having only played the 3 games, which puts you at just a huge stack of advantages. As that pitch on the corner to Austin Unglob, he goes down looking. 4 batters, 4 strikeouts in Game 7.
Well, we saw some of the higher scores in the earlier games today. A lot of offense has been displayed in this tournament, and it's nice to see that we're off to a hot start with pitching. You know, 4 straight strikeouts from these 2 pitchers. I think we might be in for a duel from the looks of things.
Now Anthony Kuzmenko steps in from the left-hand side, so our first left-on-left matchup against the starting pitcher today, J.T. Morin, as that one gets in for a called strike 1.
Got some movement in the outfield for the Beacons. You can see they are squeezing the left center field gap with the center fielder and the left fielder both closing in there. Now it looks like they're adjusting the left fielder a little bit.
Get you that Beacon defense here in just a second as you've got the opportunity. In the meantime, Morin going back to work.
Coach Egerbrout very animated over there, adjusting his outfielders, getting them just where he wants them.
Cesare in left field, Frashino in center, Herzog out in right, and as you mentioned, Frashino in very shallow and expecting the ball to be hit the other way. Killer pitch on the outside corner. Some late, mean bite on that one from Morin. Kuzmenko sent packing. So 3 swinging strikeouts for Heitler in the top half, and Morin takes the bat out of the hands of Unglob and Kuzmenko to start the bottom of the first.
Very sharp breaking ball from the left-hander there. Obviously has to come all the way across the plate to get that outside corner there. The official thinks it did, and tough pitch to hit either way.
Now Joe Magiri, the batter. That one on the outside corner, I'll tell you something, Sean, if that pitch is going to be a strike, this could be a quick one today.
Yeah, that appeared to at least end up in the batter's box on the left-hand side there from our view, but like I said, on a left-hand pitcher, in order to reach there, you generally have to cross the plate, so maybe the benefit of the doubt.
That's something, batter's approach you got to understand. When you hear it's the 3rd game of a day, you're trying to get a 4th one in. There's a big fatigue factor with not only the teams, but the umpiring crew as well. Don't be surprised. A game like this in lousy weather, there's a lot of strikes called. Got to go up there ready to swing. 0-2 curveball drilled on a hop and kicked over at shortstop. Now this would be an interesting decision. Looked to be playable at shortstop over there for Hughie. But aboard at first base is the first base runner of the ball game is Magiri. Hard hit on one hop. Looked like it was on its way to Hughie's glove.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clearly an E6 there. But I did promise you not to get to talk about scoring decisions.
So 1 on with 2 out now for Connor Walsh as he'll step in from the right side. They've yet to indicate it on the scoreboard, so your guess is as good as mine. This has been the case with so many things in this tournament. As Walsh digs in, right-hand batter against the left-handed pitcher, and they'll throw over to check on Magiri, just really trying to keep him honest, not much of an effort to pick him off.
No, obviously not his best move there, just a quick look.
And they have scored it in error.
Yeah. I'm generally pretty spot on those things, John.
So we've been told, as that one is in for a called strike 1 to Walsh. Walsh looking down toward the third base coach's box for a sign where his head coach Travis Zilg gives the signals. Walker Larson, an assistant coach, over coaching first. Pat Driscoll and Fred DeFrance round out the Roadrunner coaching staff.
See another move there by Morin. Again, a different look. He's going to mix in a few different looks there to try to keep Ramapo guessing. Obviously a team that hasn't seen him before, but most likely has reviewed video.
UMass Boston, on the other hand, coached by head coach Brendan Egerbroth. The associate head coach is Kevin Kelly. The assistants Bobby Barrett, Daniel Gambill, Ryan McDermott, Ryan Campbell, and Jamil Moquette.
Jamil Moquette, a big player for the Beacons
absolutely.
back in the day.
I thought these guys are tough to get out.
Yeah, co-player of the year, was played some professional ball for a while.
A one pop foul out of play. I just remember he'd get on first base and it would just scare you to death. The way he would jump around when he took his lead off of first.
Yep.
It got in your head. It got in mine just announcing the game. I can only what it is like for a pitcher or a catcher trying to hold him on.
Yeah, power, speed, an absolute rocket for an arm. Was a great player for the Beacons. And that was right when I first started coaching. He was, I think, maybe a junior or senior here at UMass Boston. So.
Fastball missed up and away as the breeze starts to pick up a little bit from center field. Got a pickoff lined up, 1 to 3 to 6, and so ends the first inning. So they get around that error, no problem. Excellent, good first inning of pitching both ways. No runs in the inning on no hits, 1 error, none left aboard. And at the end of 1 full inning of play, your score UMass Boston 0, Ramapo 0. We'll take a break and come back. You're watching the 2018 Harwich Regional on beaconsathletics.com. All right, welcome back here to White House Field as we head to the top of the second inning. And we're going to take a look at our player to watch here today, which is Chris Fowler, who's made quite the name for himself over the course of his collegiate career, but he was known around these parts long before he ever got to UMass Boston as an infielder, now a senior, but out of Barnstable, Mass. and Barnstable High, where he would play high school games here, probably some Babe Ruth and or Legion ball as well, and really a homecoming of sorts for him, and we saw he was excellent in last year's tournament in Harwich as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and 2 years here for the Beacons as a transfer player, 2 fantastic years, I believe first team all-conference both times. Strong hitter, good first baseman. One of our first base coach's favorite people to talk to over at first base.
Spends a lot of time over there.
He does,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So
one of 3 players from the Cape that are on the Beacons roster.
First time we've failed to cut the music to start an inning. There we go. If you had top of the second in the pool, you've won. Fowler, McCormick, and Herzog, 4, 5, and 6 due for the Beacons here in the second. So Heitler getting back to it as he struck out the side in order. He gets a generous outside corner on that first pitch, and that's something we saw pretty consistently in the first inning, that whoever that umpire is, nobody can tell us who he is, but he calls on quite the outside strike.
Yeah, well, I made some excuses for him in the first inning because I was told that I was too tough on the officials. But with
that state of fair ball is the ruling down at first base. Hugged the line, was right over the bag, and gloved there by Walsh, who just steps on it. So a big break there on a couple of levels for the Roadrunners, Sean, because not only do they get that first key out, but they very easily take the bat out of Fowler's hands for what could be a long while, the way this game's getting pitched.
Fowler's a guy who will hit the ball the opposite field in the air. On the ground, he does have a lot of pull side ground balls, so he's played right kind of into his scouting report there with the ground ball to first base, but don't be surprised to see something shot out into the left center field gap for extra bases later.
Ryan McCormick, the batter, the catcher for UMass Boston, also coming in from the left-hand side. Back-to-back lefties to start the second inning, and tough to tell where that one missed. Looked to be right on the black of the outside part of the plate. Maybe he needs to move that 3 or 4 inches out.
Yeah, well, the first pitch of the inning was a fastball from a right-hand pitcher that seemed to miss by a lot, called a strike. The one thing you want to...
1-1 grounded right back at the pitcher. He didn't get it, so it goes down to shortstop. Unfortunately for Heitler, he had Unglob behind him to make the play. That's one of the ones you want to see a pitcher make. That's why you practice it in the preseason, right?
Yeah, it's tough as a pitcher because you'll be told one thing, hey, don't go after those because you could deflect it off on an angle and cost your fielders behind you, or a routine or slow grounder like that. You want to see them field, so I think that worked out perfectly for Ramapo.
Two-way now for Nick Herzog. As he steps in from the right side and takes a called strike 1 on the outside corner.
Worst thing you can do, is stick your hand out there, especially a right hand, and deflect that thing off and jam up a finger.
That one in there for a called strike, particularly when you're pitching the way that he's pitched so far. He's been pretty frequent with the 2-strike counts, all of 50 degrees right now. On May the 18th here in the afternoon at White House Field as the breeze starts to pick up from straightaway center. 0-2 on the outside corner, called strike 3. Another 1-2-3 inning turned in here by Heitler in the second. He's now got 4 strikeouts.
You got to like this, John. If you're sitting out here in the freezing cold like we are, getting to one of those high-scoring games like we saw a little bit yesterday, and we could be here until midnight, but a little bit of a pitcher's duel through 1.5.
So after 1.5, no score between UMass Boston and Ramapo. We'll take a quick break and come right back here on beaconsathletics.com. All right, welcome back to Harwich here as we head to the bottom of the second, and we have seen some outstanding pitching so far, and primarily to this point in the game by Corey Heitler, the starter for Ramapo, who has retired all 6 batters he's faced. He's not allowed anything out of the infield, and 4 strikeouts along the way.
We go back to the end of the last inning for Ramapo. They had the runner on first base that was picked off by JT Morin. It didn't look like he had done anything differently with his move. It might have been just a coaching signal to go on the first movement from the pitcher. Pickoff ended the inning, so we are back to the same batter to lead things off.
Connor Welsh will be the leadoff batter. As you mentioned, was in the batter's box as last inning ended, but his at-bat not official, of course. He takes ball 1 low and in. He'll be followed by Bobby Shannon and Vincenzo Sita, 4, 5, and 6 in the Roadrunner order, as that one on the outside corner for a called strike 1. So JT Morin, very effective in his first inning of work, looking to capitalize on what to this point in the game has been a pretty wide strike zone. 0-1, misses a little low.
JT is one of the best pitchers in New England. I'd like to see what he's doing here, just attacking, going after these Ramapo hitters.
2-1 now, foul just off the very end of the bat. Back in our direction. We're going to give you the dimensions here at White House just before that pickoff last inning. One of the shallower ballparks, particularly to the power alleys in the Cape Cod Baseball League. 330 to the pole is a little long, but very shallow to the power alleys because it's just an even 400 to straightaway center. So a pretty easy place to get one out to left center or right center, although maybe not on a day like today as that pitch rides up and in. And we see our first full count of the ball game so far.
Seems like the wind is blowing directly in from center field by the chappingness on my face right now, so I would say it would make it difficult for those extra base hits possibly.
Foul tip there by Walsh. He's got to be frustrated. Probably swung at ball 4 there. Wasn't expecting it to cut in. And did a good job to get it just off the ring of the bat and keep himself alive with nobody out in the bottom of the second. Again, Ramapo the home team for this game in the third base dugout. That one misses in, so we've got our second base runner of the game and our first free pass. Only base runners in this game so far, an error and now a base on balls. No hits either way as yet.
JT tried to hit the inside corner there on the right-hand batter, but the umpire didn't quite give him the call. I think that if the batter had been in the left-hand box, he would have probably called that a strike based on what I had seen previously, but not looking to give the inside pitch.
So none out and 1 on for Bobby Shannon, the second baseman. So that breeze really beginning to pick up. Very pitcher-friendly win from straightaway center. This one bunted to third base. They look at second, but the only play is to first, and the throw goes across the diamond from Riley over to Fowler. So Shannon gets the job done, puts the sacrifice bunt down 5-3. Now 1 out, but Walsh up into scoring position with just the 1 away.
I think later in a close game, you might have seen him go to second base on that one. You want to make sure you secure outs here early. We did see last year in this tournament, Boston pull off several throws to second base to get outs, if you recall. That one may have been there, but it would have been risky. Smart move going to first.
Vincenzo Sita, now the batter for Ramapo. Opportunity now to try to get the Roadrunners an early lead. That go-ahead run in scoring position, needing maybe just a single to drive him in. That was what he was thinking, but pops one up behind us and behind the roadside bleachers. No, caught off toward the first base line in shallow right field. So that one just got a little crossed up with me. Sorry about that.
That one looked like it may have a chance to drop in fair territory, but another good job of positioning the outfielders by the Beacons coaching staff. Seemed to be in the right place at the right time again. Ball that could have easily dropped in for a bloop single is an out.
It's caught by Herzog in right, now 2 away, and Ryan McNaughton the batter. McNaughton, a righty facing the lefty Morin. He's coming at you right down the middle for strike 1. If McNaughton could reach here, Liam Duffy, the catcher, would bat next. Oh, 1 down in the dirt. Blocked there by McCormick, and that's pretty important in this situation with 2 out. You want to make sure you keep that runner at second base.
Yeah, you stop the runner from advancing to third base where another wild pitcher pass ball could score him without any effort from the offense there. So a nice block by McCormick.
Single as well.
Field single.
Pineapple Caper Dew hot chocolate, do we know?
It smells good up here, though, doesn't it, John?
1-1 pitch, driven, and that is through into center field for a base hit. Runner had to hesitate, so he didn't get hit by the ball. So there's a play from center field. They'll hold the runner at third with 2 away. So Connor Walsh, not the fastest runner on that team, had to wait and make sure the ball didn't hit him, and that got him a late start. They end up holding him up, and they miss out on a chance to take the early lead. Now runners at first and third with 2 out off the single by McNaughton.
Well, you see Walsh putting his hands on his head in frustration, like maybe he missed an opportunity to score. I think I probably would agree with him. Ball was hit very hard, though, so a difficult play, but you got to put that ball behind you, and with 2 outs, maybe get yourself a better chance to score. But absolutely the right call by the third base coach holding him there. Would have been out by a mile had he took a chance.
What do you think of Frasino's arm in center field, having seen as much of it as you have?
Well, the one thing that's going to be good for all the Beacons outfielders is their positioning. Now, Sal's got a good arm as well, but you see he just went straight to the cutoff on that throw. May not have let it go through, especially early, but there was no chance he was heading home.
First pitch to Liam Duffy is in for a called strike 1. Duffy, the catcher for Ramapo, up in a pretty timely situation with runners at first and third and 2 out early. And this UMass Boston team has been so dominant throughout the year. Their back end of the bullpen has been so reliable. You might only get a couple of chances to take a lead against this team in this tournament. Ramapo's got one of them right now with runners at the corners and 2 out. 0-1 big swing, no contact. Morin 1 strike away from getting back in the dugout.
That could be a spot where Walsh is kicking himself a lot more later if the Roadrunners aren't able to score here.
Now the 0-2 pitch is fouled out of play right side. And we'll get at least one more.
Home plate official telling the Ramapo players to get down off that first step there. Ramapo is always known for being very lively. You may have heard me discussing that with their sports information folks earlier, as we've played them a few times.
0-2 pitch popped up, and this one actually is foul out of play. I want to be very, very sure of that before I go saying it again. Tough day to be. It's always a tough day to be a ball shagger, but I would think today especially.
Yeah, there's a lot of foul territory here to cover. Some wooded, some
not a lot of bloom on these trees yet either, so those leaves that might knock down a ball in mid-July for you, not helping you today. 0-2 stays up high.
Goes with the breaking ball here. This is a pretty good battle so far. 0-2, couple of foul balls. See what JT wants to go with and try to put this guy away.
Matt Chemis, the 9-hitter, waiting on deck as Ramapo would love to not only get the lead, but get through the bottom of their lineup here in the second. This one will do just that. Hit into center field for a timely 2-out single. Down the handle of the bat, Duffy muscles it into center and gives the Roadrunners a 1-0 lead as in to score from third is Connor Walsh.
Just looking to go opposite field there. A lot of batters will adjust with 2 strikes, not trying to do too much. A great job of hitting there, spraying it into the right center field gap for a single. The lead for the Roadrunners.
So McNaughton advances to second, and now Chemis the batter. So back-to-back hits, the first 2 hits of the game either way, and they're immediately productive for Ramapo as they go in front. Now, like I said, you get that 9-hitter to the plate in just the second inning, Sean, and that can pay big dividends not only next inning but throughout the game because you're going to get the better hitters on your team more plate appearances.
Not only that, John, but if you can get production out of the bottom of the order, that could be the difference. That's one thing that I noticed playing UMass Boston throughout the last couple of years is they get a ton of production from that 7, 8, 9 spot. There's no rest for the pitchers, and if Ramapo can kind of flip the switches here and give the Beacons the same trouble, it could be a short day for Morin.
2-0 count on Chemis as this one is popped up into foul territory. Reaching but not making the catch is Herzog. Good effort by him, but just couldn't haul it in.
Just out of the reach of Herzog there, who had a good beat on it. I thought he might get to it. Diving effort and just barely missed. That leadoff walk also coming back to bite JT as they come in to score.
They so often will. Runners at first and second with 2 away. Chemis waiting on the 2-1. Here it is. Up a little high. 3 balls and a strike. So Morin facing some adversity here in the second inning after a very clean start. Had a 1-2-3 first inning around an error anyway, but a couple of strikeouts to get us started. Looked like it had the makings of, a pretty swift pitcher's duel, but this thing is slowed to a grind in the bottom of the second.
Missing up here in the last few pitches. Looks like maybe trying to do a little bit too much. Maybe trying to blow it past the 9-hitter here and losing some of the command that we saw early.
3-1 on the outside corner to run the count full. UMass Boston, second time in as many years, champions of the Little East Conference. Hosting the conference tournament up at Morin Park, where they actually played their game last night.
That was interesting to try to figure out, as you and I weren't here for day one, trying to figure out what happened, the logistics of the situation, how they decided where to go and who was able to come through, trying to kind of catch some of the buzz in the press box before this one started.
Morin's payoff, down in the dirt, so he walks another. Gets you back up to the top of the lineup, also loads the bases for Austin Unglaw, who's 0 for 1, struck out looking his first time up.
So we've walked the leadoff batter, we've now walked the 9 batter, 2 things that you don't want to do, and we talked about how the bottom of the order can be tough, but at the same time, you certainly don't want to put those guys on for free. Those are guys you want to attack.
Certainly cardinal sins there. Now we'll get a meeting on the mound for UMass Boston. As much as anything, you've just got to get Morin right mentally as he goes to approach what's now the most important batter of the game.
You got a pitching coach out here to talk to JT and just basically trying to settle him down a little bit. After a walk to the 9-hitter, you want to reassure JT that he's got a great defense behind him. We need to get back on top and attack the leadoff hitter here. Let him put the ball in play, let your defense help you out, get him that confidence so he's not trying to do too much here and can get himself out of trouble.
Now over on the Ramapo side, do you worry about Corey Heitler, who is pitching so well in such a great rhythm that he's had to sit through this whole thing on a 50-degree day?
I don't think at this point, John, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know how long this inning has been. You start to see many more runs coming up across the scoreboard. Maybe he gets out and does a little bit of catch, but at this point, hasn't been too long.
McNaughton at third, Duffy at second, Chemis at first. Unglaub the batter, looking to try to deliver a big blow to UMass Boston here in Game 7. Out after the first one and fouls it over toward his own dugout.
I can't speak for the New Jersey weather, but I know here in New England this baseball season has been very tough. We played up at UMass Boston in what felt like 30-degree conditions earlier in the season, so some of these guys are conditioned to deal with these low temperatures.
0-1 pitch, rides inside. Evens a count of 1 ball, 1 strike.
Coming up and in there, it's one that if you're on the Ramapo side, you might want to say, wish he would have stuck in, maybe took an HBP there for a run.
1-1, fouled straight back. Unglaub just missing that one.
Easier said than done when it's coming at you that hot.
Anthony Kuzmenko hoping for a chance on deck is Ramapo already sending 7 batters to the plate this inning against UMass Boston, but to this point only 1 run to show for it. So a pivotal at bat right here. Morin looking to make a big pitch right here. 1-2. Hit out to right center field. This one could be trouble. Fowler reaches out, dives, and hangs on to make the catch that saves 3 runs with 2 out and the bases loaded.
That was a fantastic play. Out there in right field again, positioning by the coaching staff, had him in the right spot and lay out a full extension dive. Fantastic catch.
Nick Herzog, the right fielder there, absolutely robbing Austin Unglaub, and really can't say enough about what could have happened there if that ball gets down.
Yeah, that's 3 runs right there with 2 outs, John. The runners are off on contact. That looked to me like it was going to be in the gap all the way. 1, the strong positioning. 2, just the plus play there, full extension. And very risky to make a dive on a ball like that, because if it does get by you, there's no hope for holding them to 2 runs there. It would have been all 3 for sure. Great play.
We'll take a quick break here, and we'll come back with 3 things you should know about the Beacons as they make their NCAA tournament run. All right, so welcome you back for the bottom of the second inning. There's three things you need to know about UMass Boston's run. They've never lost in the New England Regional, 9-0, counting last night's win. Ramapo looking to get to 2-0 for the second time in program history. They ran the table back in 2015, and the Beacons have won 24 out of their last 27, including the unblemished record overall in the postseason, including the sweep of the Little East Conference Tournament. Here's a first pitch swing right to center field, and that's what Coach Polk would call an "I got it" right there. And not a good way to get up off the mat after last inning.
No, after letting up a run there, you probably want to see more than one pitch by your leadoff guy. It could have been a lot worse than it is. It feels like they scored more than one run. So
got to remind yourself it's only 1-0 right now.
Exactly.
So that was Anthony Cesare just serving one right out to Majiri in center. So one pitch, one out. Now here's Sal Frascino, and he takes a called strike one on the outside corner. Frascino will be followed by Hughie. And as Sean mentioned last inning, UMass Boston's success has been predicated on getting good production out of this part of the order throughout their season, as the 0-1 is fouled the other way. And got to think it'll be all the more important today, the way that not only is Heitler racking up outs, but he's pitching in such a rhythm right now.
And it's going to be tough to score today, John. It's cold, the wind's blowing straight in your face. It's likely there won't be as many extra base hits as both of these teams are used to. So grinding out any runs you can is going to be huge.
0-2 well outside, just wasting a pitch there. Frascino wise to lay off of it. Hughie on deck, and then if they can keep it going, the top of the order comes around again with Eddie Riley.
Obviously Ramapo taking advantage down with an RBI out of the 8-hole and a walk from the 9-hole.
1-2, fouled out of play. Back toward the parking lot here at White House Field. I don't know about you, I'm parked safely down the way.
As am I.
Yeah.
We are veterans of White House Field.
We certainly are. 1-2, right down the middle, called strike three. Frascino thought that might be a little farther outside, ended up dropping right into the breadbasket of the strike zone. So he goes down looking, and Heitler already with 5 strikeouts to 8 batters.
That one pretty much split the plate right there, John. Breaking ball down the middle. You like to see a little bit of a fight with 2 strikes there, but obviously fooled him with a sharp breaker.
So now Charlie Hughie, the batter. Hughie, the shortstop. Just looking to try to get on base somehow, some way. And speaking of that, how much longer until we see one of these guys come up and look to bunt?
Well, we saw a guy from Ramapo show bunt early. Didn't wind up getting the bunt down. So it may be something you see out of the bottom of the Beacons order. Could also depend upon the defensive positioning. You know, they see somebody back and on the third baseline, maybe try to surprise one.
1 ball, 1 strike the count here. 1-1 pitch, misses up a little high. Now 2-1. Beacons the visiting team in this game against Ramapo. Winner's bracket game. Winner advances and stays in the winner's bracket to the final winner's bracket game number 11.
You mentioned earlier that tough to tell who's going to be home and away and different rules for different tournaments. I know sometimes it's as simple as a coin toss when you get into these winner's brackets games. So even though Boston's the higher seed, they are the visitor.
3-1 misses low and outside, and so there goes the perfect game for Heitler, and Hughie becomes the first Beacon base runner of the day. And this is a situation that would seem to scream for a stolen base attempt, given that you haven't had a runner all day. There's 2 out in the inning, and you're only down by the 1 run.
I would agree. You got a strong runner on first base. Take a shot here. Worst thing that happens, you lead off with the top of the order. Best case, you got a runner in scoring position for Riley, who's very able to drive him in.
Riley 0 for 1, struck out swinging like everybody did back in the first inning against Heitler. Heitler retired all of the first 8 batters he faced up until this walk you just saw to Hughie.
Looks like Ramapo may be thinking the same thing you were with a throw over right off the bat.
One in on the outside corner for strike 1. No balls, 1 strike now the count. Runner bluffs, pitch is on the outside corner for a called strike 2.
Now you got to wonder, with 2 strikes, you've seen a bluff steal. You got your batter down 0-2. You get him a fresh at bat if you do get caught stealing. Might be an opportunity to go here.
Kyle Boudris waiting on deck, hoping for a chance. Runner does go. They pitch out, but it was such an obvious pitch out that Hughie had time to break and go back. I don't know that I've seen that before.
Yeah, it looks like he may have put on the brakes. Sometimes you teach your base runners if they go to a slide step, if you read slide step, if you read pitch out, put on the brakes, get back to first base. Then again, it could have been another bluff steal like we saw in the pitch before.
This time he goes, the 1-2 down in the dirt, so an uncontested stolen base. So good job there on the prior pitch by Hughie to go back. He got a much better pitch to go on there, and a little surprised Ramapo was willing to put one in the dirt in that situation.
Well, you got 2 strikes, 2 outs. You don't want to take weapons away from your pitcher. You can try to get the strikeout, go with your best stuff there. That's why it's such a good pitch to steal on. You're thinking, hey, he's going to go something off speed, something that could be out of the zone, could be in the dirt.
It's now a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Single could tie it, won't happen. Big swing and a miss by Riley, who goes down swinging for the second time in as many at-bats as that is already strikeout number 6 for Corey Heitler in 3 innings of work. Beacons do get a base runner, but they don't score. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 2.5, your score Ramapo 1, UMass Boston nothing. You're watching the 2018 Harwich Regional on beaconsathletics.com. Welcome back as we head to the bottom of the 3rd inning. Ramapo batting with an early lead, and that's something that if you've been watching this UMass Boston team this year, you're a little surprised by. Of course, Ramapo is an excellent team. You don't want to discount that, as they came into the tournament with a record of 32-13, now 33-13 after yesterday's win. But to get behind this early and not batting, but here's some help, as there's a can of corn hit out to left field on the very first pitch of the inning by Kuzmenko, who I guess learned nothing from Sessery last inning.
2 in a row, 2 innings in a row where the leadoff batter took the first pitch and popped it up without any harm. Easy out for Morin there.
You'll take it. That road to Brooklyn's not getting any shorter.
No, absolutely. And I think I'm going to give up on my scorekeeping. I don't know if you've taken a look at my card here. It's keep my hands in my pockets, try to stay warm.
I can't say that I blame you. Joe Magiri steps up. He's 0 for 1, reached on an error back in the first inning, but then got picked off. Takes ball 1 outside. After Magiri will be Connor Walsh and then Bobby Shannon if Ramapo can keep it going. 1-0. Misses a little low and outside.
A little bit less insight this year as we didn't have the stats and packets we were provided last year with all the good information.
Don't have a lot of the things we were provided last year. It's the 2-0 pitch, misses away.
Tried to make my own lineup card here, but as you know, my attention to detail is lacking when it comes to the broadcasting game.
3-0, the get me over pitch there for a strike, and that's that's part of the burden you bear as a play-by-play guy. You got to be on top of all that stuff, because if you aren't, who's going to be type of a thing. It's this one golfed on the inside out swing out toward right field, but dropped in foul territory, so no bases taken there. But amazing after the tremendous catch last inning out in right field by Herzog. That time that was not an easy catch, but certainly lower on the degree of difficulty. Couldn't bring that one in. Yeah,
you got to make that play. It's borderline routine, and you could see that he was in full stride there, but it hit him right in the glove. The previous play was so outstanding. it's interesting to see a easier play get dropped and another life here.
So 3-2 count now on Majiri. Pitch left a little high, skied into right field. This one far easier for Herzog. And he'll bring that one in with two hands, which a coach has to like to see. 2 away.
That's 2 routine pop-ups to start the inning here from Morin. Ramapo not testing him here in this inning very, very early.
He did give up the run last inning, not hit all that hard. Back-to-back singles that were well struck, but certainly nothing that would make you panic if you're Brendan Agabro.
No, and then we talked about that leadoff walk that came in to score, and that was the only run of the inning. Obviously, they did have 2 line drive singles as well towards the bottom of the order with the RBI from the 8-hitter. But like you said, nothing that raises any red flags.
Walsh steps in from the right side, worked that walk, that leadoff walk last inning, and ended up coming around to score what to this point is the only run of the ball game. So no official at-bats yet for Walsh, trying to keep the inning alive for Bobby Shannon, who put down a sacrifice bunt his first time up. 2-0, right down the middle. Some good life on that fastball from Morin.
He's a hard thrower, mixes in the breaking ball and changeup as well.
Now the 2-1 driven straight back. Nobody aboard with 2 out after Kuzmenko and Majiri both flew out. Beacon's just looking to get through these early frames.
A hardy cut there by Walsh. Looks like a kind of guy that may have some big numbers. I would guess.
It's entirely possible, right?
I would guess.
2-2, driven foul the other way. Doesn't seem like the hotel lobby printers are going broke this week either.
Nope, does not appear so.
2-2, driven over the head of the second baseman and into right center field for a base hit, so Walsh is aboard. And you've got 1 on with 2 out, and that'll bring Bobby Shannon to the plate.
Murphy with a jump and extension there with his glove side, but ball was a hit all the way. Didn't look like he had much of a chance, but still full effort. Like to see that out of everybody, especially with 2 outs.
No official at bat yet for Shannon. Put down that key sacrifice bunt that ended up leading to the Ramapo run last inning. Big cut taken at that first pitch, no contact, 0-1.
We saw Walsh on the base pass last inning, probably not a threat to steal here.
0-1, popped up to shallow right field. Again, Fowler making the call. He's got room, he's got time, and he's got the catch for out number 3. So Morin has a nice bounce back inning, works effortlessly around the 2-out single. No runs in the inning on the 1 hit, no errors. A man left, and at the end of 3 full innings of play, your score Ramapo 1, UMass Boston 0. You're watching the 2018 Harwich Regional on beaconsathletics.com. Top of the 4th inning, UMass Boston hoping for a little more on the offensive side. The second trip through the order, they'll have Kyle Boudreaux, Dave Murphy, and Chris Fowler scheduled to hit 2, 3, and 4 in their order as the first pitch misses low and outside for ball 1. Serve to shallow left, drifting over toward the chalk, but hangs up there plenty long enough to be caught by Kuzmenko.
We're starting to see a lot of easy routine pop flies for both sides now. I'm sure both coaches are talking to their hitters here about focusing back up, putting some balls in play hard on a line.
Dave Murphy now the batter. Murphy 0 for 1. He struck out swinging back in the first inning. First one down in the dirt here for Murphy. 1 ball, no strikes. No, that one hits the corner.
See, they've tried the outside corner twice in a row here, probably trying to stay away from Murphy's power. He's known for pull side power. He has, I'd say, double-digit home runs, I believe, this year for the Beacons.
1-1 pitch, ball down the middle.
I was going to guess 11, but I got scared. I got trigger shy.
It's like playing quarterback. You got to be willing to make the mistake to have good things happen. It's just ground ball through the hole on the left side, and UMass Boston at long last has its first out of the ball game with 1 out in the 4th on the ground ball single off the bat of Dave Murphy.
See that the pull side from Dave Murphy there, hit that ball very hard over towards the left. And that's probably why they tried to stay away from him with the first couple of pitches.
So 1 on, 1 out for Chris Fowler. Chris Fowler is the first baseman. I should point that out. I don't know why I keep making him the right fielder. He is the first baseman and only the first baseman here for UMass Boston today. So 0 for 1, grounded out to first his first time up, and that was one of those first pitch swings that's resulted in outs. We've seen quite a bit of that in the early innings today, both ways.
A lot of guys being tempted by those first pitches and not a lot of production out of it. It'd be one thing if you were seeing a lot of first pitch swings for hits, but so far we have not seen any.
First one low and outside. Ryan McCormick, the catcher, waiting on deck. 1-0. Misses low for ball 2. Sun's starting to poke through the clouds a little bit over the field of play, as that is a good fastball, missed a little inside. And Fowler's got himself into a honey of a count here at 3-0.
Away, come back inside there with the fastball, and 3-0 now, a tough spot to be in against such a dangerous hitter.
3-0, down the middle, but in there for a called strike 1. Of course, just about anything will be a strike on a 3-0 count, including that one.
Appeared to be the take sign most likely from UMass Boston there. Now he'll be back in a hitter's count here 3-1 with a green light.
See if Heitler will come back with that fastball again. 3-1 on the outside corner. Fowler, the kiss of death there, taking steps toward first base. A lot of times that can hurt you on the next pitch.
Good two-seam fastball there. It looked like it may have finished a little bit outside, but it definitely could have caught a little bit of the black.
An eye on that runner at first in the 3-2 count. Does not go. Payoff pitch grounded through the middle into center field for a base hit. Now having to hold there at second is Murphy, and might they have been better off going hit and run there, Coach? Easy to second guess.
Very easy to second guess, but I think one thing you can take away from that at bat is that pretty much the exact same pitch that Fowler did not swing at before. Was able to adjust to the strike zone. Whether or not you thought it was a strike, you could tell by his mannerisms that he did not. Swung at it, hit it right up the middle for a single.
It's the best threat of the day so far for the Beacons, as they've got first and second with 1 out. First inning today where they've had multiple base runners, and the first time today they've put a runner to second base. McCormick is 0 for 1. He grounded out to shortstop back in the second inning. Key opportunity here for UMass Boston as that one framed on the outside corner for strike 1. Heitler certainly has the ability to pitch out of and through this, as he's fanned 6 already in 3 1/3 innings of work.
That ground ball by Fowler, right up the middle, probably another foot or so to the left. Might have had a possibility for a double play, but right through for a single.
0-1 taken the other way, but right at the left fielder, so taking a couple steps back is Kuzmenko to bring it in for the second out. It's another old baseball adage. Doesn't matter how hard they're hit as long as they're right at them.
Absolutely.
It's two-way for Nick Herzog. Herzog is the right fielder that I keep misattributing. Yeah.
He's made a few grabs over there today.
Certainly has, including one that saved 3 runs.
Fowler.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Really the biggest play of the game so far. Pickoff play down to second base. Ugly. Out by a mile at second base is Dave Murphy, and how do you let that happen?
He just completely caught him napping. You can see Ramapo celebrating emphatically on the sideline here.
Rightfully so.
Big mistake there by Murphy with his in scoring position in a game that they're trailing. Big momentum swing in Ramapo's favor.
Huge out for Ramapo as they come bursting out of the dugout. There's an argument at second base. There's nothing to argue. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back. 1-0 the score. Ramapo going to get a chance to try to extend their lead when we return on beaconsathletics.com. JT Morin back out to the mound as we start the bottom of the 4th inning, and pretty shocking end to that top of the 4th inning, Sean. A pickoff of the tying run at second base. I just got done saying it was the best opportunity UMass Boston had all day, and then in the snap of a finger it was gone.
Yeah, absolutely. A quick turn and throw to second base from the pitcher. Caught everybody by surprise, I think, obviously including Murphy. Coach Eigerbrout went out to talk with the umpire. I'm not sure what the discussion was, maybe questioning if there had been timeout or if the ball was in play. But a nice pick play there by Ramapo.
So it'll be Sita, McNaughton, and Duffy batting now for Ramapo. They got to feel like they stole something getting out of that inning that easily and that quickly. And now they get a great chance to try to put on some insurance here in the bottom of the 4th. And if you can do that, that's going to set you up to have a great chance to win this game.
It's a momentum swing there for sure, especially after the Beacons were able to get out of that potential big inning, only allowing 1 run to Ramapo. Come back, if you're the Roadrunners, get a play like that, now try to take it on to offense.
That one is in there, so quickly 0-2 on Sita.
You and I might disagree with that one was in there. That seemed to be well outside.
It's all relative today in so many ways. 0-2, upstairs, up and away, ball 1. Ryan McNaughton on deck, I mentioned. He had a hit, as did Liam Duffy. This is the part of the order that produced the only run of the ball game so far. As we sit here in the bottom of the 4th, 1-2, climbs the ladder, no swing. And Sita's worked his way back even in the count.
Might have been a chance where Morin was trying to get him to swing out of the zone on something up. Didn't take the bait.
2-2, waved at and missed, strike 3.
Went downstairs with that one, so changed his eye level up, then went down maybe with a change up there or something definitely in the dirt. Got the swing over the top. 3rd
strikeout of the game for Morin, his first since the 2nd batter of the game. And now he'll contend with Ryan McNaughton, who I mentioned 1 for 1. With a single, ended up getting stranded at 3rd on that great catch by Herzog that really is a big part of the plot line of this game right now. I can imagine how much different this would feel if it were 4-0 as opposed to 1-0 as that pitch misses high for ball 1.
If Herzog doesn't make that play, it's a lot different game, just like you're saying.
Morin back to the line, kicks and fires, gets that one in. I guess we'll call that at the knee, 0-2. And that's the thing for not only Morin but Heitler as well. When you can get in front of hitters 0-2 as frequently as these two have, makes it really easy to pitch the rest of the way. As that one misses a little low.
We saw that stolen base effort where he was up 0-2 and then went to the pitch out and then still was able to come back and get the strikeout because he was so far ahead.
And they've actually got it at 2-1, so now a 3-ball, 1 strike count. I'm not sure which pitch I called a ball. I called a strike, got called a ball.
I think the first pitch you saw strike, but was disagreed by the umpire.
Gotcha. Okay, 3-1, big swing there, so that's not strike 3. Can't stress that enough, and now a full count.
Mystery umpire, because we don't have their names.
Right, we did ask.
We did.
Many times. Payoff pitch, fouled off behind us. Morin trying to keep the bases empty here. His payoff pitch, inside-out swing. That's going to hang for a while, and that is Herzog in right field. He will make the catch.
Herzog plays a very shallow right field today. Maybe something to do with the conditions, the wind blowing in, but he's been taking away those potential bloop singles all day.
Well, and you got good hitters on this Ramapo squad, but certainly not Manny Ramirez, so a right-handed hitter is only going to take it so hard in the opposite direction on a day like today. There's two-way now for Liam Duffy. Duffy had the RBI single. It's the difference in the game back in the second inning. Into this one, but fouls it off. Morin's 0-1, hit off the handle of the bat down to shortstop. Hughie up with it, got to hurry and gets it across in time for the out that retires the side. So an excellent bounce back with momentum hanging in the balance. Morin goes out there and has a rocking chair fourth inning and sets the Beacons up to try to atone in the fifth. So nothing across for the Roadrunners, and at the end of 4 full innings of play, your score Ramapo 1, UMass Boston 0. You're watching a 2018 Harwich Regional on beaconsathletics.com. All right, welcome back as we move to the top of the fifth inning. Ramapo with that stubborn 1-0 lead that they got back in the second. And the Beacons trying to remedy that here as Herzog, Cesare, and Frashino will come to the plate 6, 7, and 8. And there's a bunt to lead off the inning. Good contact on it, but pushed it up the baseline a little bit foul. So 0-1 now on Herzog. And
you were looking for that, John.
I was, indeed. Tough break there for Herzog, getting a chance to hit with a couple of men on in a 1-0 game. That opportunity disappeared as his teammate Dave Murphy got picked off of second base.
Adjusting his game, trying to just get himself on base now.
0-1, no sign of the bunt. This one driven behind us, and behind the merchandise tent where our friends Kim Wolf and Jillian Cahoon are answering the volunteer call.
Absolutely. Kim Wolf from the Hyannis Athletic Association with me.
0-2 pitch. Down in the dirt, they'll appeal. No swing.
Hyannis hopeful to maybe be able to host an event like this down the road.
1-2. Misses away. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. They're trying to host it last year.
Well, hopefully with the
waiting for the new field.
The new field, some
field.
Funding starting to roll in now.
We'll have the regional, we'll have the All-Star game, we'll have all the things once we get the new field. Check swing, foul ball. 2-2 the count.
I'll have worn out my welcome by then, so I'll be a spectator.
Going to go to town meetings after that, maybe complain about the property taxes.
I got to find something.
2-2, misses a little bit inside to run the count full on Herzog. Important pitch coming up here with the bases empty. And a full count on Herzog, who certainly can get around the bases. Payoff pitch, misses a little high, those leadoff walks.
Absolutely, and the last leadoff walk we had came in to score for Ramapo. We'll see if UMass Boston can do the same, tie this game up.
Now, we saw Ramapo in this same situation in the second inning immediately put down a sacrifice bunt. Would you advise UMass Boston to do the same here in the top of the fifth?
Well, I think it might be something you see. You see the batter looking into Coach Eigerbraut, who seems to be giving the signals from that bucket in the dugout, so he may have something on here. I know in the past you've seen UMass Boston use a signal system of numbers and wrist guards. Doesn't look like anything's on here.
Runner bluffs, and that's a good bluff, you got to say there. Seemed like it influenced the pitch, and you're now ahead in the count.
So that's what will happen sometimes if you're a catcher or a coach that's calling the pitches. You get worried about something being on. You take away some of the weapons from your pitcher.
Cesare swinging at the 1-0 and drove it foul back to the screen.
You can see that first two pitches, no sacrifice bunt on. Obviously, Coach Eigerbraut with plenty of confidence in his offense here. Still early, only the top of the fifth. They've come back from so many deficits this season. The 1-0 obviously not scaring them at all.
Cesare out of the stretch now. Runner bluffs, the 1-1 hit through the hole on the right side, and a slow little bleeder into right field. They're going to be aggressive and go first to third. The throw's up the line and gets away. It stays live because of the protective screen, but that allows Cesare to get up and take second base on the throwing error out of right field by Chevis. And now the Beacons have it cooking second and third, nobody out in the fifth.
You have a lot of things going on there, John. One, the fake bluff steal pulled the second baseman towards the bag. Looked like they had switched up coverage there. Second baseman took just two steps towards second base to guard for that potential steal. Ground ball through the hole. Nobody was home. And then the right fielder, you got to make a better decision than that. You got to keep with nobody out. You got to keep that double play intact. You got to keep first and third. He throws wildly to third base. Now you're in trouble.
In the old days, that bounces into the dugout, and it's a dead ball, and that run comes in and scores from third. So he catches a little bit of a break that netting has been in for just the last few years here in Harwich. As the first pitch is in for a called strike one to Sal Frascino. No balls, one strike. So second and third here for the Beacons. Frascino 0 for 1. They draw the first and third baseman in. Squeeze not out of the question here. The middle infielders stay back despite the fact that there's no force at second.
I think they're probably guarding against a possible bunt from Sal. There it is.
And he pulls back. They don't call the pitch a strike. They appeal on whether or not he offered. He didn't, so it's ball one in the dirt. And a key block there under the circumstances by Duffy. Now 1 ball, 1 strike.
So Ramapo doesn't want to give up the infield altogether with infield in, but they want to protect against a possible bunt. Frascino has been known to be an excellent bunter through his career, and looked like it was on there on that last pitch.
Heitler looking to get himself out of some big trouble here in the top of the fifth. The 1-1 pitch is hit on 1 hop, 2 hops to shortstop. They'll let the run score, throw over to first, and we've got a new game here in the fifth inning. Productive out, Sal Frascino rolls it over to shortstop and drives in Herzog from third. Cesare has to stay put at second, but we're now tied at 1.
Now you can't talk about what would have happened because obviously everything changes, but if the right fielder just hits the cutoff, keeps the runners at first and third, if that ball's hit the same spot, you got yourself a nice 6-4-3. Run still scores, but instead of a runner on second base with 1 out, you got bases clear and 2 outs.
That could make a big difference, as here's Charlie Hughey with that go-ahead run in scoring position. Hughey worked a walk his first time up back in the third inning. Into this one, on a hop to shortstop. Again, the runner moving, the throw is in time, but another productive out as Cesare gets over to third. The throw over to third, and just getting back into base safely is Cesare. The throw got away a little bit from Sita, but not far enough away.
So what you may not have saw there, John, was I believe Cesare thought that was 3 outs. So he started walking off the field as if the inning was over. A back pick by Ramapo almost got him there, dropped by the third baseman. You now see Cesare trying to explain to the third base coach what he was thinking. as third base coach is getting on his case. Here comes Coach Eigebraut, maybe checking on him for injury,
maybe
wanting to talk to him.
To chew him out, make it look like a trainer.
But that's exactly what happened. He thought that was 3 outs, wandered off the bag. Ramapo took a shot, and if it wasn't for a dropped throw there, we may have had the 3rd out.
And just to play devil's advocate, who cares if you think it's 3 outs? Stay put and make sure, right? In a game this important, in a tie game, you're the go-ahead run.
Surprising to see, mental mistakes from UMass Boston. Not
2
something
innings in a
you
row.
ever see from a team that puts up the kind of success they have. But with Murphy getting picked off at second, and then that play there, that's 2 here early in this game.
So we go back up to the top of the order, and Eddie Riley, who's had a rough day dealing with Heitler, 0 for 2 with a pair of swinging strikeouts. First one in the dirt, and a good pounce there by Duffy to not only block the pitch, Sean, but stay right on top of it to prevent the runner over at third, Cesare, from thinking he could come in and score.
It's a big rebound there, but like you said, catcher got up quickly and went after it. No chance for the runner at third. Plus, you probably find Cesare a little bit shy on the aggressiveness after being yelled at by the third base coach.
1-0 fastball. Now I'm not saying that's a strike, but it has been a strike all day. It was a couple inches off the plate.
The only thing you can ask for is consistency. You try to pitch to the umpire's zone. You try to attack as a hitter to what's being called, and maybe not getting quite the consistency we're looking for.
Same pitch. This time it's a strike. 2-1.
That, like I said, if it's a strike, then let's call it a strike all game.
Heitler kicks is 2-1. A little bit further outside. Not much, but a little. Just far enough to be ball 3.
I think that Ramapo's thinking that he's given a little bit on the outside corner, trying to hit that spot. That one was clearly more outside than the previous pitch, but that's what they're going for.
Of course, with the empty base, no reason to make a mistake over the plate if you don't have to. They'll go to that same spot, and they get exactly what they want. Ground ball off the end of the bat. Glove there by Shannon. He throws on to first for the out that retires the side. So the Beacons tie it up, but Heitler is able to limit the damage with 3 straight ground balls. So the Beacons tie the game up by scoring 1 run on 1 hit, 1 pivotal error, and then 1 runner left on base. And at the end of 4.5, we're back to where we started, tied at 1 between UMass Boston and Ramapo. We'll be right back on beaconsathletics.com. Welcome back as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, tied at 1 between UMass Boston and Ramapo, and we did get the word between innings from the legendary Stephen M. Miller Jr., our official scorer today, that run is earned. Now, we haven't seen Steve in a while, as he's been a couple of years out of the sports information industry. A legend of the game, truly.
Absolutely.
3-time Bridgewater State dance-off champion as an undergraduate. I don't know if you know that, at halftime of the basketball games.
Yes, I read that in his bio back when he was working at Worcester State, and his reputation certainly precedes him here today.
Man's been making some hay while we've been away from him these last couple of years. He got married last August, we understand. Congratulations to him on that. And picking up his graduate degree in library science from the University of Rhode Island tomorrow.
Absolutely. Exciting day for him, as he'll be taking a day off from the tournament proceedings to walk that aisle and pick up that diploma.
If you'd like to continue the discussion on Twitter, that's, of course, as always, hashtag SMMJR. In the meantime, we've got some baseball.
First I've heard of that.
Oh, yes. It goes back. Bottom of the 5th inning here, knotted at 1 between UMass Boston and Ramapo. As Ramapo now getting tested a little bit. They got that early lead. They had some chances to build it. They didn't do it. Now do they have the mettle to come back and go take that lead against a good team again?
Well, it's the volley back and forth here. Low-scoring game. Both lines are the same. One run, 3 hits, 1 error.
Chemis, Unglob, and Kuzmenko, 9, 1, and 2. The scheduled hitters for Ramapo, as that one's on the outside corner. And in there for strike 1, now 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 popped up and fouled out of play.
Now, I got to wonder, John, when the folks at this fine tournament are going to flip the lights on.
Wasn't for the first pitch. It was a lot darker at the first pitch than it is now. But as you mentioned, the day's not getting any younger.
It's pushing 7 p.m. here in a very cloudy day.
1-2, waved at and missed, eye level, and maybe that made a little bit of a difference there for Chemis, who didn't see it, didn't make any contact, and he sent packing quickly without number 1.
Now, maybe if one team had a bigger lead, you might say, let's keep those lights off. But with a tie game, it's fair to flip that switch right now, I'd say.
Austin Unglob, the batter now 0 for 2. Of course, at McKeon Park, we always give the courtesy of doing it at the beginning of an inning.
That's
so that
correct.
We're not stiffing the road team a chance to bat with the lights on. And as the first pitch misses up high for ball 1.
I got myself into a little bit of trouble one time getting the lights turned on in the half inning.
Yeah.
I was told that that's not proper.
Not how we do
not
things
proper
here. That's
etiquette. Right. One team gets the lights and one team didn't for that half an inning.
Reaching out to catch that one is McCormick, but called a strike. Now 1-1.
In my defense, I had been yelled at by Coach Polk to get the lights turned on. And
that is very much how things work around McKeon Park.
Not somebody you argue with.
Yeah. Those lights aren't cheap, so you don't like to go to them if you don't have to, of course, as that one fouled out of play. We like to try to pick it up the first full inning after 7 p.m. is the usual rule of thumb. But it doesn't always work out that way.
Well, you know, it's not your money, it's not my money.
That's true.
It's a cloudy day.
1-2 pitch, hit out to center field, but right at center fielder Sal Frashino, and he will bring it in for an easy second out. So Morin really, since allowing the run, has gotten just that little bit sharper to make sure that this game doesn't get any further away from him than it was at 1-0, and now, of course, it's tied.
You remember that after that run came in, he was starting to lose a little bit of his accuracy. We got a mound visit there from the pitching coach, maybe settled him down. He got out of that inning with only the 1 run and has been cruising since then.
2 down now for Anthony Kuzmenko. Kuzmenko struck out looking in the first inning, flew out to left field to lead off the third. First pitch misses low and outside for ball 1. 1-0, golf foul out of play, left side. If Kuzmenko can get on, Joe Majiri would bat next. 1-1, taking the other way. That one a little closer. Got to straighten it out a little more, though. Foul again.
Now, would you say the Ramapo names are tougher than the Boston names, or do I just know the Boston names better?
I think both are true at the same time.
Okay. Because you'll notice I refer to them as the catcher.
Yeah, when you're dealing with a team you haven't seen all year, you like your Smiths, you like your Joneses, and you're not getting those from the Ramapo Roadrunners.
I like Walsh. He's my guy.
Yeah. Kuzmenko goes down swinging for the third out of the inning. 2 Ks in the frame for JT Morin, nothing across for the Roadrunners here in the 5th. So 4-inning game now. We're tied at 1. And the not quite so easy to pronounce Kyle Boudris will lead off next inning, but then Murphy and Fowler, who are very much your guys.
Correct.
So we'll take a quick break and we'll come back. You're watching Game 7 of the New England Regional here on BeaconsAthletics.com. All right, welcome back as we head to the top of the 6th inning. The lights are coming on, perhaps at your request at long last, as the umpire is coming over to indicate that to people in and around the press box. As we head to the top of the 6th, UMass Boston scored last inning to tie the game. Now they're going to look to try to take their first lead of Game 7. Kyle Boudris, Dave Murphy, Chris Fowler, the scheduled hitters, 2, 3, and 4 in the Beacon lineup. And it's always funny when something like that happens, when the umpires want the lights on, the umpires never really know who it is. Nobody ever knows who it is that actually has the ability at any given ballpark to turn the lights on. So they start looking at dopes like us and saying, turn the lights on, like we can do anything about it.
Right, and that story I was telling about the time I helped turn the lights on, I was actually the bullpen coach.
1-0 driven into right field on a couple of bounces. A quick leadoff single for Kyle Boudreaux, and the Beacons are right back in business here in the 6th.
Generally not the guy in charge of the lights, but
in my experience anyway. Right. Dave Murphy now the batter. Murphy 1 for 2 with a base hit, singled last inning, but was picked off second base, what could have been a big run in that game. My favorite of all the places on the Cape League circuit was back in the good old days at Wareham with the late, great John Wilde on the public address. He would just announce into the microphone, "May we please have the lights."
And thus English, the lights came on.
They would come
Correct.
on, yes.
These lights coming on quick, warming up nice and fast after my complaints.
Murphy pulls the bat back and takes strike 1 on the outside corner. So he is showing bunt there. We didn't see them looking to sacrifice last inning. This inning now that you're playing for the lead, they are.
Interesting too with Murphy, the 3-hitter, trying to get somebody in scoring position maybe for Fowler, but you know, like you said, something that we didn't see last inning. Now change of strategy.
0-1 down the middle and in there for a called strike. Good frame by Duffy behind the dish.
Gotta wonder if maybe coaching staff saw something from this matchup that they didn't like with Murphy and his first 2 at-bats, and maybe they thought, let's try something different. Didn't work out. Now we're 0-2.
0-2 on a very generous outside corner, and Murphy can't hit that pitch. It's as simple as that. They set up in the other batter's box. If that's going to be called a strike, what can you do?
Nothing. You can try to foul that pitch off. There's not going to be much else you can do with it. We have seen that called a strike most of the day. Some inconsistency there. But you almost saw that one coming from up here in the booth. You 0-2. Why wouldn't you go to that?
7th strikeout of the game for Heitler, and that one was big with the potential go-ahead run at first base and nobody out. So now here's Chris Fowler, the Barnstable native, 1 for 2, singled his last time up back in the 4th inning, and he takes strike 1 on a more even outside corner there. I mean, what made that last one so egregious was that you saw the catcher get up out of his crouch, move a good 6 inches over, and set up right where they were going to throw it. No frame even attempted.
Nope, he just tossed it the heck out there and got the call.
0-1 driven on a couple bounces into center field, hitting second and staying there is Kyle Boudreaux, runners at first and second with 1 away. Back-to-back singles for Fowler in his last 2 at-bats.
And back-to-back off-speed pitches to Fowler there. The first one called the strike, the second one ready for it, lined it in for a base hit. Fowler's a fantastic off-speed hitter.
That's one of those things that really sets a Division III hitter apart, right? The ability to hit something other than the fastball consistently for hits.
Absolutely, and I think obviously Ramapo probably thought that a 4-hitter like that, you want to stay off speed, try to get him to roll over. Not the case. Fowler hit that ball very hard.
McCormick now 0 for 2, grounded out to shortstop in the 2nd, flew out to left to end the 4th, and he takes a called strike 1 here. So the strikeout's been very good to Heitler today. He struck out the Beacons in order, struck out the side in order in just the 1st inning, and has now racked up 7 over the course of the day. Could really use an 8th here with the go-ahead run in scoring position in the top of the 6th inning.
See, they're setting up away. Looks like an overall strategy. Maybe they seem to be looking like they're trying to pitch away to most of the hitters here.
Well, why not? I mean, when you've got an umpire that's playing along and doing his part of the dance and giving you strikes out there.
And it doesn't look like they're giving you the inside on some pitches that I thought have been pretty close. So
that's where you're going to make all your mistakes anyway, especially against metal bats. Might as well stay away.
Going away again.
1-1. If that's a strike, it'd be crazy not to, right? I mean, why bother even trying to throw over the plate if that's a strike?
That's where the only spot on that I would disagree with you is that that's not a strike. That's well outside.
Called a strike, and that's the only thing that matters. Now, 1 ball, 2 strike count here, and you just feel for these hitters as they try to compete against what seems to be a growing outside corner as this game goes along on a chilly day. 1-2. In closer. It's almost like there's an inside corner that's on the plate. Is that one called ball 2?
So that looked like it was closer to the plate, but maybe it was lower. You know, sitting way up here on this porch. It's tough to tell up and down.
Inside, outside, I'm happy to say we are directly behind home plate here at White House Field, which is a lovely thing.
Yeah, great spot.
Doesn't always happen that way.
It was even better last year when it was warm.
Yes.
Well, fantastic for a spot to view the game.
Yes.
A little bit brisk.
A little brisk. We're not too proud if you're on your way to the yard right now, you're listening on your phone in the car or whatever, you know, hand warmers, hot chocolate, coffee, whatever it is. Stop on by as this one popped up into shallow center field. Too shallow for a tag in advance, so as good as a strikeout there. As Mojiri able to come in, make a very routine catch. And so the Beacons getting a couple of hits, but not doing a whole lot with it early in the inning.
Yep, the strikeout you were going for also had an opportunity to maybe try to get a ground ball. I think they were trying to stay away and get a rollover for a possible double play, but the routine pop-up there puts you in a good spot now just to go and get your last out and get this inning over with.
So deja vu all over again for Nick Herzog, who finds himself at the plate with runners at first and second and 2 out. Happened to him 2 innings ago, only to have Murphy picked off at second base. You'd like to be able to bet your bottom dollar here that that won't happen again. As the first pitch in under the armpit on the inside corner for a called strike one. And as you were saying earlier, you know, usually a generous corner on one side comes at the expense of a corner on the other side. Not the case there, as that's an inside strike.
Yep, he gave him starting to give him the inside now as well, so we may be looking at an even tougher day for the hitters.
Heitler's 0-1. Good action on that pitch, but a little low.
I love to see a good inside corner called. As you know, a pitching guy. Reward a pitcher from coming across, getting inside.
Anybody can pitch away, right? It's the good ones and the gutsy ones that can pitch in.
Right?
It's one of the few pitches we've seen from Heitler today that's moved across the zone. 1-1, outside but low. Good block by Duffy, we've said that a lot today. He's done a very nice job down in the dirt, preventing extra bases.
Yeah, he's had a great day so far defensively. Maybe saved a run earlier in the game.
Runners both go. 2-1, swung and missed. Throw to third is there in plenty of time, but mishandled. And so it's a double steal for UMass Boston that looked doomed to fail from the beginning, but there they are.
I wonder if that was the hit and run you were asking for earlier. You could see swung at a pitch that was well out of the zone.
Right.
Makes me think that that's what was going on there. Bad throw or catch by the third baseman, catcher combo, however you want to put it. The Beacons got lucky there. Now second and third with 2 outs.
Could be a single away from a 2-run lead in what's been a very low-scoring game.
These are the things you got to take advantage of. You're taking advantage of a play that was a blown play.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Big fastball there by Heitler in a key spot as he leaves the 2 go-ahead runs in scoring position. His biggest pitch of the day so far to register his 8th strikeout. So an inning after the Beacons made a couple of productive outs but couldn't get a run in. This time they get the hits they needed but not the productive outs, and the result is the same.
Well, as I was just about to say, before that he came with that fastball. It looked like it had a little bit of extra juice on it there in that big spot. That's something that you have to make hurt, right? You had a hit and run that went sour. You were the beneficiary of the play working out in your favor. Big hit there, scores 2. Doesn't get the job done. Big strikeout by Ramapo.
So no runs on 2 hits, no errors and 2 left, and we'll head to the bottom of the 6th, still tied at 1 as Ramapo's gotten out of some major jams here today. And Morin will take the hill again when we return on beaconsathletics.com. Move into the bottom of the 6th here. This game's still tied at 1, and a big part of the reason why it's still tied at 1 is because Ramapo's been able to get out of a couple of big jams here in these last couple of innings to keep the Beacons from having a multi-run inning.
That's something that hasn't been a problem for the Beacons all season long. They've cashed in so many times on plays that have been not gone their way there with that hit and run. Came back with a couple of RBIs in the past. This time getting a big strikeout by Ramapo.
Majiri, Walsh, and Shannon, another one of your guys,
yes,
scheduled hitters this inning for Ramapo as the first pitch misses up high for ball one. Majiri is 0 for 2, reached on an error back in the first inning, flew out to right his last time up in the third.
These are three names that I can handle, Malgieri included.
That one's a strike, and just almost don't even want to talk about it anymore, how far outside these pitches are getting called.
I guess the one thing you can say is at least it's both ways.
Ground ball and a couple of hops to third base. Up with it is Riley. His throw across in plenty of time. So the leadoff man kept off base again here by Morin, who's put together quite the streak of doing that ever since he allowed that leadoff walk that led to a run in the second inning. Now innings 3, 4, 5, and 6. He's gotten that first out right away.
He really has settled in, John. He's been pitching great, taking advantage of the strike zone that we were just talking about as well.
So here's Connor Walsh. Walsh is 1 for 1, walked and scored the only Ramapo run back in the second inning as he takes ball one low and away, and singled his last time up in the third inning. But that single for Walsh was a 2-out bases empty hit, and you're plenty content with that if you're UMass Boston.
I think it looks to me like we're going to see an awful lot of outside fastballs the rest of the way here, and that one was called a strike there as well. Just as I say that, they set up inside.
Yeah. Pop up, hit the opposite way, which is, of course, what happens when you're swinging at outside pitches all the time. And Herzog makes the catch in right field for the second out. So that begs the question, how are you going to get runs scored in this game under these circumstances?
You're going to want to take advantage of any errors or any opportunities that your opponent give you, right? If you can get a base runner on that is thanks to a miscue, you're going to have to cash them in.
Because an extra base hit seems near impossible.
Do we have one today? My scorecard stopped in the second inning.
You had Herzog save the one.
Yes,
that would have been a 3 RBI double.
Absolutely.
But that's the only thing that's come close. Strike one there to Shannon. Shannon 0 for 1, put down a sacrifice bunt in the second inning, flew out to right to end the third. Just giving it a look-see here. No, all hits today are singles. 8 of them total, all singles. Is that one in for strike 2 to Shannon, trying to keep it going for Vincenzo Sita, who waits on deck. And remember, that one time for UMass Boston that they did get a run in is because they were going so aggressively. Herzog getting first to third on a ball hit to very shallow right field.
We thought it might turn into even more runs after the error by Ramapo, but they were able to wiggle out with just one as well.
0-2 up and away. One, two fouled out of play behind us.
We do have some action in UMass Boston's bullpen. Number 31, which is that Kaufman. Unfortunately, I know his number because he's been very, very good against us.
1-2 pitch. This is up and away. Sean Manfredo, the associate head coach of UMass Dartmouth, a rival of UMass Boston's in the Little East Conference, which has been one of the premier conferences in all of Division III baseball year in and year out. The at-large bids haven't reflected that in a while, but nevertheless it's true as that one misses low and inside.
Certainly a very tough conference. I think commenting last year that the conference tournament was such a grind, and then to see UMass Boston come in and take care of business in the regionals was nice as well.
Line shot through the hole and into left field, so a 2-out single here by Bobby Shannon will get Vincenzo Sita an opportunity with a runner aboard at first and 2 out. And something we mentioned earlier on the other side for UMass Boston when they got the 2-out walk, getting late in a low-scoring tie game, do you go to that steal attempt right away to try to put yourself in a situation where a single can put you ahead?
That's the question, is do you have the guts to try something like that where base runners have been so scarce?
Against a lefty who knows it's coming.
Right, and then the other question I have is Kaufman's ready. I wonder what kind of leash they have for JT Morin, has been their top guy all season long.
He's been excellent today, but especially since the third inning, as he's allowed just 2 hits since the third inning began. One to Walsh and then that last one to Shannon. Sita 0 for 2, flew out to right in the second, struck out swinging to lead off the fourth, hits this one straight up the elevator shaft. Playable for Fowler, and this time it really is Fowler over at first base. He puts it aside, and that solves that problem real quick. Good job there by Morin to work around the late base runner. No runs on a hit, no errors, and one left. And now at the end of 6 full innings of play, we're still tied at 1. Headed to the late frames here at White House when we return. You're watching the 2018 Harwich Regional on beaconsathletics.com. Welcome back here as we head to the top of the 7th inning in a tie game, 1-1 between Ramapo and UMass Boston. Really a great game here in the winner's bracket. And we knew that strikeout to end last inning was big for Heitler because of the situation in the game, runners at second and third. What we just found out is that he actually tied the Ramapo program record for strikeouts in a season with 111 on the year. Just a truly impressive number for a pitcher that's had a fantastic year, which we mentioned earlier off the top, included a no-hitter back on April the 28th against Rutgers Newark.
That is an awful lot of strikeouts, John. 111 in a college season. Typically you're going to get 9, 10, 11 starts if you're lucky.
Ties a record that stood for 40 years. John Marchese, 1978, fanning 111.
Well, I would say that if we're going to continue to see the strike zone we've seen, that record's going down.
First pitch of the inning is outside for ball 1 to Anthony Cesare, who foul tips that one, now 1-1.
Now, we don't have access to a radar gun or anything, but it does not appear that he's losing anything on the fastball, if not gaining. The fastball for the strikeout seemed like it came in quite hot, so to speak, and then right here back with the 2 fastballs to start this inning.
I mean, you played enough video games back in the day to know when you know you're throwing it outside, you don't care about the location so much. You bear down a little, get a little extra velocity.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know? 2-1 now, the count on Cesare. He'll be followed by Frashino and Hughie, 7, 8, 9 in the UMass Boston lineup. Ground ball to the right side. Second baseman scampering over there. Got a lot of mustard on that throw. Nice play by Shannon to hustle it to Walsh and prevent the infield single. One gone.
Some pretty aggressive arm speed for a 10-foot throw there from the second baseman. You always kind of clench up a little bit when you see something like that, but right on the money.
So 1 down now for Sal Frashino. He's driven in the only UMass Boston run of the day. Beacons got 2 on with nobody out back in the 5th inning, and then he had an RBI ground out to tie the game. Takes ball 1, never can be too sure outside.
So off-speed pitch to start up Sal here.
Third baseman Sita playing even with the bag, anticipating maybe an attempt at a drag bunt. So that one misses away. 2 balls, no strikes. (2-0) fastball was a strike last inning. Now it's 3-0.
Now you get yourself in a predicament because you're trying to throw. Right. You're trying to throw to the umpire's zone and maybe getting away from what has given you success. Same spot.
Gets that one over. The umpire saying stay here to the batter before throwing up the strike sign.
Very interesting. Generally just the strike sign will do the job.
Usually a sign of not so good things to come for a hitter. And there you go. Stay here again. Strike 2. And Frashino's just walking right into the trap. He's taking the cheese.
I think you probably want to be swinging on this next pitch if it's anywhere near the zone.
Yeah, and even if it isn't. Payoff pitch down the middle and fouled off with Duffy's mask. A little surprised to see that come down the middle, knowing what kind of equity the pitcher had built up there.
May have been just a missed spot. I mean, you know, these guys, the pitchers at the highest level, they don't hit their spots all the time, whether you're in the majors or you're down to high school. So
now another payoff down the middle again, hit straight back, and I've decided that's a thing now. Outside corner equity, you build that up when the batter tries to walk out of the box and gets put back in twice. You'd have to think that buys you at least a couple inches further outside than you've had, right?
You would think so, yeah.
Another 3-2 again down the middle and misses high. So Heitler has had this bread and butter outside fastball all day, gets 2 strike calls, and then goes away from it in the 3-2 count.
Looked like he was trying to reach back again, maybe try to blow a fastball by him there and lost some of his command. Another thing to consider is after working away for 5 pitches, try to sneak one on the inside corner, especially considering the batter's most likely going to be swinging. Didn't work.
Very unusual to see 3 straight pitches right down the middle in a game that's close, let alone tied. That one bunted. It worked somehow. Got down in fair territory. Now Heitler throws over to first and gets it there in time. So gets the runner to second, albeit with 2 outs. Stickler, like me, wouldn't give a sacrifice in a situation like that. But he certainly wasn't bunting for a hit.
Dropped in, not a great bunt. Dropped right in between the catcher and the pitcher. But the communication there is going to be key. Who's going to take that ball? The catcher probably has the best route with his momentum coming forward. You saw the pitcher there kind of falling backwards with a fadeaway throw. Still got the out, but could have been very dangerous.
That brings it back up to the top of the order, and Eddie Riley, who's had a rough day, 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts and a ground out to second. If he was ever going to break through, this would be the time to do it with the go-ahead run at second base in the 7th inning. Went golfing at that one. Saw that back foot come out, sign of a hitter that's having a tough day.
Well, you had your 9-hitter up for that sacrifice bunt. With 1 out,
right.
But then, like you said, with the day that Eddie Riley's having right now, with the strikeouts and the lack of production, is that the best move? We'll see if it pays off.
That's something you see with pitchers all the time in National League Baseball. Runner goes, the 0-1, no throw. So the pitch is called strike 2, 2nd inning in a row, where on the 1-strike pitch, UMass Boston stolen third base.
You could see all the way that he was going to be taking third base. He had his foot momentum was moving towards third base. Surprised we didn't see any type of pick call from the catcher. May have had a pretty good chance to throw him out at third, but the ball was just misplayed on the transfer.
It's the same situation Heitler had last inning. Runner bluffing from third. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Misses the outside corner, in and out of the glove of Duffy. 1 ball, 2 strikes. If Riley can keep it going, Kyle Boudreaux would bat next, but that's of vastly secondary importance. The potential go-ahead run, 90 feet away with 2 out here in the top of the 7th inning of a 1-1 game.
He's looking for the strikeout here, 0-2 now to 1-2.
Set up away again, the 1-2 pitch popped up into shallow right field. Should be playable for Chemis, drifts over into foul territory and makes the catch for the out that retires the side. So again, the Beacons come close, but they cannot get over the top to take their first lead of the day. No runs in the inning on no hits, no errors. A man left so close to home plate, but not across. And at 7th inning stretch time from White House Field, your score remains tied at 1. You're watching the 2018 Harwich Regional on beaconsathletics.com. Now we move to the bottom of the 7th inning. Here at White House Field, this has been a dandy of a game. And this is why you play the full season, get through into the NCAA tournament, and you know, the cream rises to the top as the tournament goes along. You eliminate a couple of teams, you get the good teams out there against one another. A lot of times this is the result. This has been a classic so far. A 1-1 game, 5 hits for UMass Boston, 4 for Ramapo. And back out to the mound is the starter, J.T. Morin, again in the 7th inning. Sean mentioned there was action in the Beacon bullpen last inning, but they'll ride Morin as his first pitch to Ryan McNaughton misses up and away for ball 1. It'll be McNaughton, Duffy, and Chemis, 7, 8, and 9 in the Roadrunner order. 1-0 is popped up, going nowhere. Wind playing some games with it, though, and it'll be caught at second base by Murphy, 1 away.
Kaufman still continuing to throw very lightly in the bullpen, not throwing a ton of pitches down there, but being ready at a moment's notice here if things go south.
Now here's Liam Duffy. Duffy is 1 for 2, had an RBI single with 2 out in the second inning, and that's one of the big storylines of this game. He grounded out to short also to end the 4th inning, but only 2 two-out hits in this entire game, and they were consecutive by McNaughton and Duffy to score that one and only Ramapo run of the game back in the second inning as ball 1 misses high.
Not a ton of hits, period, so far in the game, but definitely not a lot of timely hits.
1-0, swung on and missed for strike 1, and I should amend that a little bit. Those are the only 2-out hits with runners on today. Ramapo had a bases empty 2-out hit in both the 3rd and the 6th, but they proved inconsequential.
Somebody is doing a much better job with their scorebook than I am.
1-1, lifted into foul territory, and it gets out of play for strike 2. If you're going to put a headset on, try to call an important baseball game, you better have one.
Yeah. I would expect nothing less out of you.
I thank you.
The on-field bullpens here almost played a factor. That ball was well out of play, but could have been dangerous.
1-2, sounded like a wood bat there. Grounded down at shortstop, bobbled a little, but a good recovery at short by Hughie in time to make the throw across to get Duffy 2 away.
Bobbled it, but kept it right in front of him. Strong arm throw to first base. No problem.
2 down now for Chemis. He is 0 for 1, worked a walk back in the second inning, but struck out swinging to lead off the 5th his last time up, and see what's going on here. Duffy a little slow getting back.
Tweak a knee or a hamstring or something, potentially.
Really one of very few interruptions we've had to this game so far.
I was just thinking the same thing. It's been a really fast-paced game for as little offensive action as there's been. The pace has been very strong.
A lot of times in a game like this, late and close, it can grind. You get a lot of meetings on the mound.
Right.
You get a lot of batter walking down to talk to the third base coach. You get a lot of crossing up on the signals from the pitcher to the catcher and all that stuff. But for the most part, this game's been very crisp in that respect.
Which is hasn't given us the opportunity to get to know each other.
I know.
We did so much last year.
Got pretty deep into your employment history by the time day 3 was complete. The first pitch swing, here's a pop-up, and that is in the bleachers, or behind the bleachers.
The old Applebee's story.
That's right.
That's correct. Well, I guess I got to figure out how I put this on my resume now. Am I working for UMass Boston?
Fair question.
Am I working for John Cabral?
You
Am I working for the regional tournament?
No, probably not. Yeah.
They're already on there.
Although you did last year.
They're on there. Oh, it's already been fluffed up.
That one backdoor on the outside corner for strike 2. If Chemis could reach, Unglob would bat next, the leadoff man for Ramapo, who's 0 for 3 today. 0-2. Misses, and that's something we don't see all that often. McCormick was up out of his crouch to receive that pitch.
Yep, he was trying to give
the Red Sox used to do a lot in the Jason Varitek days.
Give Morin a nice high target as they were obviously trying to go up and then
1-2, a killer low and in. A lot of chirping from Chemis.
Terrible call.
Wow.
Terrible call. Third base coach coming over.
Make sure his player doesn't get dumped.
Yep.
But Chemis goes down looking. Second time he's fanned today. A 1-2-3 inning for Morin in a key spot. That is his third 1-2-3 inning of the day. So nothing across for the Roadrunners, and at the end of 7 full, we remain knotted at 1. We'll have 8th inning action for you when we return here on beaconsathletics.com. All right, we head to the top of the 8th inning here. Tied at 1 between UMass Boston and Ramapo. John Cabral alongside Sean Manfredo here in Game 7 of the New England Regional. It'll be Kyle Boudris, Dave Murphy, and Chris Fowler, 2, 3, and 4 in the Beacon lineup. And UMass Boston now, they've had opportunities. They've tied the game, but Sean, they've stranded at least one runner in each of the last 5 innings, including 2 in the 6th. So they've had a lot of chances to get over the hump here and haven't done it yet. You have to wonder how many more chances they can get against a pitcher of Heitler's quality.
Well, we talked about having cashing in on those opportunities, talked a little bit about 2-out hits. Hasn't been much of that from either side coming up big so far.
And could this game just come down to the first team to get into the other's bullpen wins? Is this one driven well and foul out of play? And I think you, with your experience coaching in the Little East, would say probably no, because the Beacons are just as good in their bullpen as they are in the starting rotation.
UMass Boston has a couple of guys I really like in their bullpen. Obviously, Bobby Tramandazzi's second-team all-conference closer. And then we've mentioned he's been warming up for a while, Bryan Kaufman.
Rare breaking ball there. Boudris way out in front of it, now down 0-2.
Kaufman's numbers would say that he didn't have a great year, but he was battling through injury, working his way back in, and there was nobody better in 2017.
0-2 pitch. Another one. Bottom fell out of that, so some off-speed pitch. Back-to-back to Boudris, and he goes down swinging to lead off the 8th.
So now he's had some strikeouts since you said he tied that record. So
that would break it. That's the magic
win.
number,
That's
112 right there.
New program record for strikeouts in the season, 100, and there goes the ball.
There
the
you
ball
go.
is headed into the coach.
Breaking a record that stood for 40 years for Ramapo. Congratulations.
Pretty impressive. That's a lot of strikeouts, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Corey Heitler on that. So one down now for Dave Murphy, who's 1 for 3 with 2 of those strikeouts. Had a single back in the 4th inning, and that's another one of those plays that you circle. Of course, it was Murphy that got picked off of second base to end the 4th inning.
Maybe a chance to atone for that here.
Takes a big cut at that one with that in mind. No contact, though. Now 1-1.
He got called out, struck out looking in that pitch that we thought was a little bit off the plate, but consistent to where the strike zone has been.
1-1 pitch. A little late swing there. Murphy fouled it off. A lot of times that's one of those ones where the batter will turn back and ask the umpire, would that have been a strike? But on a day like today, you probably just don't even bother, right?
Right. No, I don't think so. This umpire seems like he may be getting a little chirpy as well.
1-2 fouled off the very end of the bat.
You heard him yell, I think it was to Sal Fonseca to get back here. Or
stay here before he made a strike call on 2 consecutive pitches.
And now he's getting the Ramapo fans and family are all over him now. So
makes for a long day.
Yep.
1-2, foul tip, good squeeze there by Duffy behind the plate. And we've mentioned how good Duffy's been catching today for Ramapo.
This looks like a new catcher, John.
Well, I take that back then, but what a squeeze. That's not something you see very often.
2 great catchers for Ramapo. I wonder if a sub was made due to injury. Was that him that came off with that knee injury from first base? And now they've replaced him due to injury, I believe. So we saw him holding his knee. Now we have a substitute in here.
See if we can get a name on that sort of thing. Now there are 2 away.
Like just can't
the
see
tough thing is seeing the number when you got the chest protector on. That one is
18.
Ball.
All right, we are working with Nick Camarilli, the Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey junior.
2-0, lifted the other way. Should be playable out in left field. Got to run a country mile to go get it, but Kuzmenko does, and he brings it in for the out that retires the side. So UMass Boston, after leaving runners on the last couple of innings, they don't do it this time, although they kind of wish they did. Nothing across, a very quick inning for Heitler in the 8th inning as he sets the strikeout record with 1 more for good measure, and we'll head to the bottom of the 8th now in a 1-1 game. And Sean, really a tough break there for UMass Boston, because now that home field advantage plays in huge, because anytime you get into a situation like this where you fail to score, you've now got to go get 6 outs and score in between to win the ball game.
Well, and you've got JT Morin here. He's starting to get into the late innings, as you mentioned here. He's going to the bottom of the 8th. Oh, we got Kaufman. Kaufman's entering the game. So scratch that about JT Morin getting tired, as we have Bryan Kaufman entering the game. Now Bryan as I mentioned earlier, numbers-wise, not his best season, but coming back from injury, didn't pitch a lot early. Down the stretch here in the tournament and the final weeks of the season has been very good. Last year in 2017, one of the best relievers in the country, in my opinion.
Kaufman, a senior out of Farmingdale, New York. And he comes on in place of J.T. Morin, who really was excellent. In 7 innings, he gave up 1 run earned on 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, 3 of them looking to 2 walks, and really can't ask for a better outing than that. Just didn't get the kind of run support he was hoping to get, and now you just have to hope you can win a nail-biter.
Probably the run support that he's used to with UMass Boston, scoring a lot of runs during the season, but 7 innings from your big arm, your big lefty there. Get the ball over to the bullpen, like you said. You've got Kaufman, you've got Tramandazzi, got a couple weapons there that can keep you in a close tie game. Hopefully give you a chance a team to win.
And now this is really a second chance for this top third of the Ramapo lineup, Unglob, Kuzmenko, and Majiri, because combined they are 0 for 9 today against Morin. So they've got to be overjoyed to see him out of the game and have a chance at a fresh start against the new arm.
Yeah, they probably had hoped they would have chased him a little bit earlier. Sometimes when you have a real top-tier pitcher like Morin, some of the strategy going in is, hey, let's try to get this guy's pitch count up, see if we can get him out of there in 5 or 6. Not the case today. JT got you through 7, hands the ball over to Kaufman. Let's see if the change of look and change of sides here to the righty gets Ramapo's offense ignited.
Austin Unglob will lead things off. He's 0 for 3. Struck out looking in the first inning, flew out to right field to end the second, and flew out to center field in the 5th. Now, we had that graphic earlier in the broadcast about how UMass Boston's never lost a New England regional game. They're at 9-0. Well, I've got my own personal streak very much on the line, as I am 8-0 in UMass Boston NCAA tournament games, which is no small reason why they're writing the check to me for this game. So I've got, my own future, perhaps, working for this institution could be on the line right now.
I was worried when they shipped the game out yesterday that maybe the jinx would be on the Cabral Magic, but then I started looking at it.
They won without me. Now that really turns up the heat on me.
Well, I had a feeling that with
Penn State
Burks
weren't
going to get the job done. Yeah. We saw them last year. That's probably a reason why they're 2-0 here in this tournament. Very tough tournament.
Unglob ahead 2-0 in the count already on Kaufman, the senior out of Farmingdale, New York. Trying to keep that leadoff runner on base, and Ramapo has not had a leadoff man aboard in an awfully long time. Got to go all the way back to the 2nd inning to find the last time they got a leadoff man on us. That one's on the outside corner.
And that guy came around to score.
He did. The only Ramapo run of the game, that was Connor Walsh. Back-to-back 2-out singles by the 7-hitter McNaughton and the 8-hitter Duffy brought that run in. 2-1 pitch. Hit a little too far down the handle of the bat. Easy play out and right for Herzog, who's certainly been busy this afternoon. He makes the catch for the first out.
The streak of leadoff runners not getting on board continues.
1 down for Anthony Kuzmenko, and 1 through 3 in the order now 0 for 10. Kuzmenko 0 for 3, struck out looking in the first, flew out to left to lead off the 3rd, and struck out swinging to end a 1-2-3 5th, and of course all of that against J.T. Morin, the outstanding starting pitcher for the Beacons today. Ground ball to a tough spot, over to get it is Fowler. Great underhanded shovel over to the pitcher, and that's exactly the way you practice it.
PFPs, John, right? That's what they say right there. Fowler comes off, maybe takes a step more than some first baseman would get. Very athletic play, and a piece of cake toss over to Kaufman.
2 down now for Joe Majiri. Majiri's 0 for 3, reached on an error back in the 1st inning. Flew out to right in the 3rd, grounded out to 3rd base to lead off the 6th. Seems like these innings are only getting quicker as this game pushes toward the 9th. That one's on the outside corner.
Shows bunt
called
there.
Strike 1.
Looks like he may have been trying to pick on Fowler, who's playing back deep at first base, thought better of it and took it for a strike.
0-1 slap foul over toward the Beacon dugout.
See my guy Jamil Milquet peeking out.
He'd be a great guy to get on your men's league team.
I think
show up and dominate.
Any of these
0-2 swung on, foul tipped, and anything you can do, I can do better right there, says McCormick as he squeezes it for the final out of the inning. So dueling 1-2-3 frames, the second straight one turned in by the UMass Boston pitching staff, and they return serve here in the 8th. Nothing across for Ramapo, and we head to the 9th, tied at 1 in the all-important winners bracket Game 7. We'll have the 9th inning for you when we return on beaconsathletics.com. All right, welcome back as we head to the top of the 9th inning. Tied at 1 between UMass Boston and Ramapo. We really can't repeat this enough. UMass Boston is the visiting team in this game, Ramapo the home team. So Ramapo does have that benefit of the last at bat no matter what the score is. As the first pitch misses low and away to Ryan McCormick. McCormick will be followed by Nick Herzog and Anthony Cesare. Ground ball, a slow ground ball down to second base. Should be routine, and it is. Up with it is Shannon, who throws on to Walsh, and there's one away in the 9th inning.
Another leadoff runner retired.
Beacons haven't gotten one on since back in the 6th, and they stranded that runner at third. So here's Herzog. Herzog is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. He walked in the 5th inning. That at bat in the 6th inning was key because he had runners at second and third, but struck out. There's a bunt, but it's right back at the pitcher. Easy play there, and an easy out.
Well, it's going to be tough for me to get down on Herzog because, in my opinion, he's basically saved this game.
That's
with
true.
His defense in right
Very
field. Now,
true.
while that was a non-challenge play, bunting it hard back to the pitcher there with one out, he does have that big play on his resume today.
Cesare, 1 for 3 today, flew out to center to lead off the 3rd, singled but was stranded at 3rd in the 5th. There's that classic outside strike coming back again here in the 9th inning, and Cesare's last time up grounded out to second base. That was to lead off the 7th.
I guess now that's the 9th, we can call it a classic.
I was calling it that back in the 7th. I wasn't stopping, as that one missed low and away. Oh, the strike call, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I was calling it a classic game in the 7th. But
oh,
yes,
I was calling it a classic
absolutely.
strike call.
Yes.
Yeah. Or signature outside.
Yes, you could say that. 1-1 downstairs. We'll have one more game in Harwich tonight between Keystone and Oswego State. This one popped up to shallow left and Cotton left. Not a day for home runs, to say the least, and it's a 1-2-3 inning, second straight for Heitler, who has now gone 9 innings and has retired 8 in a row, seemingly getting stronger as it goes along. So here we are going to the bottom of the 9th. Ramapo will get a chance at a walk-off win in Game 7 when we return on beaconsathletics.com. All right, welcome back here to the bottom of the ninth inning. Wanderson Pinellas, the new right fielder, into the game for UMass Boston. Nick Herzog moves from right over to left, and Anthony Cesare is out of the game after a 1-for-4 day at the plate. Kaufman back on the mound, and he will contend with the middle third of the Ramapo order, Walsh, Shannon, and Sita, 4, 5, and 6, as Ramapo gets the first opportunity to try to pick up a walk-off win in what's been a very close game all day, of course, given the 1-1 score. Ramapo took the game's only lead back in the second inning and held it until the fifth.
This, having Kaufman back at 100% and back in his groove is a huge weapon for UMass Boston. He's very tough to hit, somebody that you can lean on for multiple innings.
Walsh has been a pest today out of that cleanup spot. Walked and scored the only Ramapo run of the game in the second inning, singled in the third. Flew out to right field his last time up, though, as he takes the backdoor curve in there for strike one.
Kaufman's going to go heavy with the breaking ball, as he always does.
0-1 pitch, ground ball down to second base. Good beat on it there for Murphy. He's got time and he's got the out.
Another leadoff runner retired.
Ramapo hasn't had one since the second inning. Now Bobby Shannon steps up. Shannon 1 for 2. Put down a sacrifice bunt that led to the Ramapo run back in the second inning. Flew out to right to end the third and had a 2-out single. Was stranded at first base his last time up back in the sixth inning. And when you're batting in the ninth and you haven't been up since the sixth, that's a sign that the pitching has been pretty darn good today. Ground ball, foul. That might be a way to invent some offense today. If you could ever tuck a double inside the first base or third base bag, that might be the best way to do it. Those are going to be the only ways
you're going to get an extra base hit, it seems like. And you can see Fowler's playing a step off the line, a few steps off the line at first, so it would have to go opposite field. But third base line's pretty well protected.
0-1 pitch, a little bit of a late swing there, and a fly ball hit to center field. Frasino's got a lot of time, and he's got the ball for out number 2. The outs just really piling up on both sides now as UMass Boston pitching has set down 9 in a row, going back to Shannon's single in the sixth. Vincenzo Sita now the batter. He's 0 for 3. Flew out to right in the second inning, struck out swinging to lead off the fourth, and fouled out to first base to end the sixth inning. And remember, that was with the go-ahead run on base.
Now you've got both teams here for the next game thinking, oh boy, are we going to be here?
Tough swing call there.
That was. As we are 1 out away from extra innings.
Now the 0-1, good sweep through the zone, gets the generous call, 0-2.
Now if that's something that Kaufman can just keep doing, is throwing that slider away, getting that call, it's going to be very difficult for Ramapo.
0-2, tested just how far out that zone would go, but that one's certainly a ball. If Sita could reach, Ryan McNaughton would bat next. He has one of the big hits that led to Ramapo's only run. That was back in the second inning. 1-2 pitch, hit off the handle of the bat to shortstop. Stays up there forever, and Hughie makes the catch for the out that retires the side. So a third straight 1-2-3 inning by the Ramapo Bats, and we will head to extras free baseball from White House Field here in Game 7 as we head to the 10th, knotted at 1. You're watching a 2018 Harwich Regional here on beaconsathletics.com. right, welcome back. A very important pitching change to tell you about as we return, because Corey Heitler, who is nothing shy of dominant for Ramapo, is done after 9 innings strong, and he's replaced by Kevin Folds, the right-handed pitcher listed at 6'4" and 245 out of Sparta, New Jersey. His fellow Spartans play at both shortstop and right field. Unglob and Chemis, these guys all went to high school together. They're all seniors. They'll all be graduating, and what a better way to go out than with a win in the old Harwich Regional here this week.
A very interesting tidbit, John. You're a wealth of knowledge.
I dug deep.
Have you ever been to Sparta, New Jersey?
I can't say that I have, nor Sparta, Greece.
Not sure that I have either. Just curious about you.
You know, a lot of high schools call themselves Spartans, but they're not actually in towns called Sparta.
Do you believe that Sparta High School is the Spartans?
Probably not, but it's a missed opportunity, I think. So fastball misses up and away to Ryan McNaughton. He'll be followed. Excuse me, that's the wrong side of the lineup that I'm looking at. It's going to be Frascino leading off, to be followed by Hughie and then Riley.
Well, Sal is still got some beef with the umpire, showing him up there again, not going to earn himself any calls, especially after his last at-bat.
1 ball, 1 strike the count. As again, now that it's almost dark, the sun's starting to poke through a little bit as it sets. Is that one called a ball?
Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he did.
Maybe. Yeah. Frascino did work that walk, but only after 2 disputed calls. Folds with the 2-1, misses up and away.
That's a huge pitch coming up here.
Yes, and I'll tell you, Ramapo, some fortunate they're the home team, because you would not want to be in this situation with the roles reversed. With Boston as the home team, you get that dugout chirping, you get 1 base runner, it can all be over in the blink of an eye. Here's the 3-1 on the outside corner for a called strike 2.
Back-to-back full counts for Sal. Worked a walk last time.
Payoff pitch on the outside corner. Of course, Frascino not friends with this home plate umpire, and he gets the opportunity to stick one to him there, and he does, for the first out of the 10th.
I think that call's been pretty consistently a strike. I didn't think that was any more egregious than they've all been, but certainly with his mannerisms and body language, he's not going to get any favors from the boys in blue today.
It's the 11th strikeout of the day by the Ramapo staff, and of course the first for Folds. To the first batter he faced. Now here's Charlie Hughie. Hughie only 1 official at bat today. He walked in the 3rd and put down a sacrifice bunt his last time up. As he takes a ball high there, his only official at bat, a ground out to shortstop back in the 5th. It's part of the reason why we're still here, because it was with a runner at second base. A base hit there might have knocked in the winning run. 1-0 on that outside corner that's played such a big role in this game. After Hughie, we go back up to the top of the order, and Eddie Riley. 1-1, misses well inside. And we asked the question back a while ago, just how are you going to get a run scored today? You've got teams with good pitching, good fundamental defense, bad weather, not a whole lot available in the way of extra base hits. Makes it awfully tough to find your way around runs. This is 2-1. Fouled out of play behind us.
Well, I think that if you're UMass Boston, you're going to need to get something to go your way, whether it's a walk or an error. So far, Folds, and it's been a short sample size, hasn't been filling up the zone. He's thrown as many balls as strikes to the first 2 batters.
Remember that huge catch by Nick Herzog with the bases loaded and 2 out in the right center field gap early in this game. So all the way back in the 2nd inning, the only run-scoring inning of the day for Ramapo. Could have opened the floodgates right there from the beginning. Could have been a much different game today.
And back-to-back full counts to the first 2 batters he's faced.
Payoff pitch, misses inside, and so there's the base on balls that the Beacons were looking for. It comes a batter late, but you'll take a walk to the 9-hitter any way you can get one.
Interesting here with both these full counts, the 8 and 9 batter, both pitches very close. Neither of them offered at that pitch. I thought maybe even closer than the one to Sal on the inside corner. Frascino rung up on the outside corner. That pitch called a ball. So flip a coin. You got 1 out of 2, and see what they do here. You saw earlier in this game, you saw a bunt with 1 out, and with Riley struggling.
So here is Eddie Riley, 0 for 4, struggling indeed. Playing very close to the bag at third over there, Sean. Huge gap on the left side. If you could ever turn one around and pull one, they're not going to get to a ground ball.
Riley's a pull hitter too, so he'll go that way. But you're right, they're shading a little bit up the middle for double play, and then your third baseman's in. It opens up a huge hole on the left side.
And of course, you don't want to give up the double. A lot of times you see that in late inning play anyway. The corner infielders will play close to the line, and so will the corner outfielders, although you don't see much of that. Outfielders in pretty much straight away, left and right. 0-1 pitch hit the other way at right field, but he was in shallow, and it's over his head. Hitting second is Hughie. He's going to keep on going. He'll hit third. They'll send him in. That throw's going to come from a mile. Not even close. It's an RBI triple for Eddie Riley, who finally breaks through with his first hit of the day, and it's one of the biggest hits of the tournament yet as the Beacons grab the 2-1 lead in the 10th. Up and over the head at Shemis in right field, and there was nothing he could do once he watched it go over.
You've had your outfielders in all day long on both sides, especially in right field where nothing's been traveling. Right fielder in shallow, and that ball is driven on a line over his head. A no-doubt triple all the way, run scoring from first base with ease.
Now the good news, here's a ground ball at the drawn-in infield. Well played there by the defense. They move the infielder in so that run can't score from third. Boudris is gone and one pitcher's 2 out. If you're Ramapo, the good news is you're only 1 run behind. The bad news is you are on life support on offense. You've had exactly 1 base runner since the 4th inning and 2 base runners since the 3rd. And nobody's gotten on base since the 6th.
And Kaufman has looked fantastic. You got to think he's going back out there, even though they have an all-conference closer. Kaufman's been fantastic. I don't see any action in the pen.
Infield now back with 2 outers. That first pitch to Murphy is in for a called strike. Murphy trying to avoid the golden sombreros. He's 1 for 4 with a single and 3 strikeouts. 0-1 pitch, grounded foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, we're talking about ways you could get an extra base hit today, and having an infielder in too far and having one go over his head was a way we hadn't thought to say out loud, but makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, that ball was struck very well.
Yes.
But like we said, the outfielder's been playing shallow all day long, and it came back to cost him there.
On the outside corner for a called strike 3, but that simply sets the stage. 4th strikeout of the day by Murphy, but UMass Boston does not care as they touch up Folds for the most important run of the game so far. 1 run on 1 hit, the huge triple off the bat of Eddie Riley. No errors and 1 man left, and the stage is set as we head to the bottom of the 10th inning. The bottom third of the order will be due. That's actually been the best part of Ramapo's order today. They'll need 1 run for the tie and 2 for the win. We'll find out if they do it when we return on beaconsathletics.com. Bryan Kaufman back out to the mound in the bottom of the 10th inning, now suddenly in position to win the game. And all he's done since coming in back in the 8th inning, Sean, is go 6 up, 6 down through the top 6 spots in this Ramapo order.
And they do have some action in the bullpen. Bobby Tramandazzi's starting to get loose in case of any trouble, but as you mentioned, Bryan Kaufman has shown no signs of anything that anybody should be concerned about.
The only Ramapo rally today, the only time they had more than 1 base runner in the same inning was by this group back in the 2nd inning. They were preceded by a leadoff walk to Connor Walsh, and then Ryan McNaughton, who will lead off, came up with the single. Liam Duffy had the RBI single, but remember, he's out of the game. He got into that scrape over at first base. He's gone. And then Matt Shemis worked a walk. Those are really the only thing to speak of out of the bottom part of the order today, and of course that was a long time ago. But here is Ryan McNaughton to lead it off. He's 1 for 3 on the day.
And the rap music that has been blasting all day today has delayed the game. It's been a interesting game.
Where have you gone, Jim Seavey? The region turns its lonely eyes to you.
You're going to see a lot of sliders here from Kaufman. We'll see if Ramapo can adjust and start looking to shoot those to right field. They have had no success so far.
First pitch to McNaughton's in for a called strike. Remember, Camilleri on deck. It'll be his first at bat of the entire game. 0-1, hit off the end of the bat. Tough play on the ground ball. That is a fair ball. You got to hurry that throw, and it's over in time. Great play there by Riley to force it over to Fowler for out number 1.
Riley comes up with the big triple to score the go-ahead run, and then is right there, sure-handed play at third base to retire the leadoff runner.
So that brings Camilleri to the plate. Haven't seen him at the dish yet. Came on as a defensive replacement. He's a right-handed hitting catcher, a junior out of Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. First pitch in there for a called strike. He was showing bunt, pulled back, and this is just an impossible spot, having not swung a bat all day, to have to go up there against a dominant reliever, 2 outs away from losing a game with the bases empty.
Yep, pulled back there. Wanted to take a look at what Kaufman had. Got the called strike. Didn't sound like the crowd thought much of it.
They rarely do. Got a feel for these Keystone Giants who've been sitting in the crowd for over an hour now, freezing, waiting to get on the field for this next game, but I guess you get used to it, right?
I'm mostly concerned with myself.
Popped up foul and into foul territory, playable and caught, and again over at third base, it's Riley bringing it in.
As far as the cold weather goes, I mean, of course, they may have been sitting here for an hour, but I've been here since 4:30 or so.
I think standing was a very good decision by us back in the first inning on any number of levels.
Keeps the heat, keeps the blood flow, but also allows you to see, which I find to be valuable.
When you're broadcasting, it is important.
Yep.
Matt Shemis now the batter. He's 0 for 2. Strikeouts his last 2 times up. Worked a walk back in the second. And it all comes down to him. Ramapo scoring its lone run back in the second inning, and they've had nothing except for 2 isolated 2-out singles in innings 3 and 6. Nothing to speak of since then. Haven't put a runner to second base since the second inning, as that one misses inside.
2 pitches right in the same spot. Had previously we'd seen those called the strike. Today on this at-bat we have a 2-0 count.
Beacons picked up 1 in the 5th, and of course the very important 1 in the 10th on the RBI triple by Eddie Riley, who has made both of the plays defensively since we've resumed. 2-1 the count on Shemis. He's hoping to keep it going for Austin Unglaub, the leadoff hitter who's 0 for 4. As that one swung at, now 2-2, and that's the part that really kills you. If you're Ramapo, you get back to the top of the order, you want to get excited about that. Well, the top 3 in your order are 0 for 12.
Yep. Kaufman's done a great job here.
1 strike away. His 2-2 pitch swung on, grounded back to Kaufman on a slow hop. He's got to hurry this throw over, and he gets it there in time for the out. And it took all day long, but UMass Boston remains undefeated in program history in New England regional play as they get the come-from-behind victory in 2 slow, small increments. They get the tying run in the 5th, and they waited out to the 10th inning to get the winning run, and they punch their ticket to that all-important Game 11 tomorrow night, where the winner of that will be the first team in to the championship round.
That's a great win for UMass Boston against a very good team with a very, very good pitcher on the mound. I think we can say that looking back on all the games we've seen them play in regional play, this was one of their most hard-fought wins.
And the other thing that's very big that I think is what Dave and Gigi were celebrating here is it guarantees no matter what, you're only playing once tomorrow, which on the 3rd day of the tournament is very difficult to do and absolutely huge if you're going to win this thing. So we talked about the big plays in this game, but I think it warrants revisiting one more time. The only time Ramapo did anything worth talking about on offense today, Sean, they had the bases loaded with 2 out. Austin Unglaub, who was in the on-deck circle as this one ended, belted a ball, maybe the hardest hit ball the entire day for either team, to the gap in right center field, only to have a diving catch made out there by Nick Herzog, prevented what would have been a 4-0 lead right off the bat, and it ended up mattering in a huge, huge way in a 2-1 final.
Well, that's the play of the game, and obviously it happened so early that maybe you forget about it or maybe it gets lost in some of the other moments, but as you reflect back on that, John, it's it's a very good point to mention that certainly is by far the play of the game. If that wasn't made, this doesn't go to extra innings. It's 4-1 Ramapo. Heck of a play.
So Bryan Kaufman is your winning pitcher as he goes 3 innings of scoreless relief, 9 up, 9 down. Can't ask for much better than that, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the outstanding start and the outstanding 7 innings they got off the top from JT Morin, who really was excellent and seemed to get better as his outing went along.
Both starting pitchers, you can't say enough about what they did today, gave their teams a chance to win. Offensively, they didn't get either pitcher got the support they normally are probably used to, but JT was fantastic. Bryan Kaufman, as I mentioned, one of my favorites, did his job. I don't think he had a strikeout, right? 3, 6, 9 up, 9 down without a strikeout. Right. Just getting those sliders in there, making Ramapo chase pitches that they couldn't do something with, getting soft contact, doing his job.
And then tough luck doesn't factor into the decision, but Corey Heitler certainly pitched more than well enough to win this game today, going what would normally would be a complete game. It doesn't count as one because the game went extra innings, but 9 innings from Heitler, 10 strikeouts. He sets the program record for strikeouts in a season, breaking a record that has stood for 40 years. A real shame that the Roadrunners couldn't get him the W to go along with it.
Yeah, excellent performance, and again, congratulations on the record. I'm sure he'd trade that in for this win if he had the opportunity to. Pitched great, tough luck for him as a no decision.
So we mentioned UMass Boston goes into that all-important Game 11. They project that to start at 4:30 tomorrow. I'll eat my hat if it actually starts at that time. It'll likely be at least a half hour later in the day. And for Ramapo, they will be right off the bat at 9:30 tomorrow. They've got to play the loser of Game 6. The winner of Game 6, and that was, of course, Mitchell beating Suffolk. So then you go into that loser's bracket, the elimination scenario. Now you've used your best pitcher today, and you've got to come up with 2 wins tomorrow.
It's definitely not the position you want to be in. Boston got the huge win. We talked about it before the game even started. You go into that loser's bracket, you got to battle your way all the way out. Now Boston stands back, waits for their next game. They get the winner of the Oswego game. So they get the winner of Game 8. Could be another tough matchup. Oswego State, very good. Keystone, very tough. We talked about earlier. This tournament, although not a lot of familiar New England teams, a lot of very good teams from around the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. In my opinion, a much tougher road to Appleton than it was last year when the Beacons made it. A very strong group, and here they are 2-0 again.
So I'll be back here tomorrow, but one farewell goes to you, back by popular demand.
That's it for me. I've had enough of the Beacons for the year, so
the complaints on Twitter need to go to @Sean with an SHAWNM14 tomorrow. I have nothing to do with this trip that he and the missus are taking to New York. I had nothing to do with it. If I had my way, he'd be back on the mic. But
maybe there's some way I can give color commentary from a phone.
Well, you can certainly tweet.
I mean, I barely paid attention, so I mean. I can just make wisecracks. I assume the umpiring is going to be tough, so I can put those guys down and do my thing.
Well, great to have you back, and you're welcome here anytime. Well, I mean, we're not welcome here anytime. We're only welcome here select times. But anytime I'm welcome here,
so it's happy to be invited somewhere for once.
Is what I'm trying to say.
A nice win for the Beacons, and good luck to them the rest of the way, representing the Little East Conference. Hopefully we can see them as well as Southern Maine in the World Series this year. 2 LEC teams doing their thing and representing the conference well.
So both us and the Beacons making lemonade out of the proverbial lemons here today. Your final score for the final time in 10 innings. UMass Boston with the victory 2-1, and they grabbed a 2-1 win over Ramapo.
Tomorrow's at Mass Maritime. Okay.
And we've just gotten word everything tomorrow will be at Mass Maritime, not here in Harwich. So the term Harwich Regional will become even more of a misnomer than it already was. But the schedule should stay the same. They have a turf field up there, and imagine that. The sponsor of the tournament is going to use it. So some sanity is coming to this tournament eventually on day 3.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Right. That's going to do it for us here tonight. Your final score, really, for the final time. UMass Boston 2, Ramapo 1 in 10 innings. And on behalf of Sean Manfredo and the whole crew here at UMass Boston, my name is John Cabral saying thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow from Buzzards Bay.